Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Shout out to all of the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed. What are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. You know, we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, and but somebody dragged me out of my cave. So you know, we've been watching and seeing a lot of things going on, you know, in these social media streets. And I didn't really want to comment on everything. People already know how I feel about most of the people who have been making comments. So I did decide, you know, I wasn't really going to bother myself. I think I want to comment on some of the stuff that's been said on social media with regards to the attacks on Kevin Samuels and, you know, a lot of these people constantly, you know, the list of people talking about Kevin taking their talking points is progressively getting longer. And at first I kind of felt like people had an argument and maybe a point to some degree, which I could kind of understand. But the list has gone from interesting to just straight up ridiculous. And I personally, yeah. So I'm going to touch on those things. It's just basically going to be a roundup and an entire chop up of pretty much everything. And you know me already. I'm not going to do a video a day, but I will basically do one long-winded live stream and just cover every base. And that's my contribution to YouTube for the quota of the month. So yeah. So I was having conversations with people this morning. We were talking about different things. I happened to be perusing these YouTube streets, and I came across this video by a content creator called Cheri. And I do want to do a proper breakdown video where I kind of tried to put together the concept of how Black women are used as a tool of white supremacy to keep the Black community in a compromised state. But this video kind of encapsulates some of the things that I wanted to basically touch on in that video. And it's kind of interesting because we've got so much controversy going on right now with the whole Kevin Samuels, what did he or did he not take, and blah blah blah. So you know, I'm not going to talk too long about it. We're just going to dive straight into the video. I'm going to give my commentary. I'm going to give my response. I'm going to give my thoughts on Umar, Cynthia G, the other person, Jason Black, and Tommy. You guys already know how I feel about Tommy and what he basically has said. You know, whether he has valid points or not, you know, it is what it is. And yeah, so let's just jump straight into the video. If I can find it. Let me know if you guys can or can't hear it. Fair use.
How y'all doing?
Funny.
Why do we keep having to go over these subjects?
I know, right? Why do we have to keep going over these subjects? Hey, George, how you doing?
I started to talk to you guys about the article that came out. It was a study that was done that said that the Black community was going to become financially bankrupt by the year 2053, which is in 35 years, 30, how many years? How many years? Y'all help me. I'm about to add it up. Okay? In about 32 years, we will have little to no finances available to us, right? Maybe the twos if you're in there, right? But overall, nothing. And here's why. Our men. I swear to goodness, our men. I had a friend of mine, Ken. Y'all know Ken Brisbane. He made a statement today, and it was very true. So let me read what he wrote and the conversation around it and why I'm saying what I'm saying to you guys. So he said that manhood is so tough. A lot of guys just say F it and knocked out. They are having conversation about women's makeup, weave, nails, and cosmetics. They even tell women what being ladylike is. Wow, the pressure, bust pipes I see, right? So it's not even about breadwinners, honey. It's about.
Okay, so first and foremost, it's obvious she likes weave, eyelashes, nails, and she's later on going to say she's 180 pounds. So obviously, you know, she's taking it some type of way. She feels kind of personally attacked because she fits into the category of the group of women being criticized. So okay, let's hear what she has to say. She says it's the men, and I don't 100% disagree.
On Instagram
On Instagram
or the day before, and there was a gentleman on there, and they were the general conversation was home ownership, which you know I enjoy this stuff. It was about home ownership, not just your actual home, but investment properties, real estate in general, right? Just real estate acquisition. So it was one of the larger, bigger pockets, blacker pockets or something like that. I can't remember. But they were saying that historically, women were more inclined to purchase real estate. Single women were more inclined to purchase real estate as opposed to single men. Instead of men coming on here and saying something to the effect of, "Man, I wonder why," or you know, "Not me," you know, I'm on it, or "Let's look into it," you know, or anything that was, you know, resolution based, right? The entire conversation that was actually happening is that's because women had OnlyFans pages, and I was like, my nigga, if she got an OnlyFans page, who the fuck you think spending the money on there? The same person does not buying a house, right? Because women are spending their money on real estate, my nigga. If she got an OnlyFans, if she could afford real estate, I suggest two things. One, you go get your OnlyFans page too, or two, stop spending your extra resources on the OnlyFans. But back to my point. But the bigger conversation was, you wonder what the bigger conversation was? The conversation went away from women, single women.
Okay, so let's touch on that. She has a point. Right? Men are the ones who enable the gynocracy to some degree because they support degenerate women. And as much as I've had this conversation before, like when people have said to me, "Oh, you're trying to basically save, you know, garden tool-esque women." It's not really that. These women are so far gone that they really believe like they're men. They really believe like they can do what a man does, and that, you know, they're getting it like a man, and they're getting it out the mud like a man, and yada yada yada. And so the way that they operate, when you are, they don't even see it as shameful, like, "Oh, you're tricking off on me." They literally see it as I'm getting this money, I'm being a provider. And so men who actually support degenerate women, they're like the gremlins that just keep replicating. Men throwing money on these women is like throwing water on a gremlin, and it starts to multiply. Okay, so OnlyFans, I mean, again, you see, this is why women are out here bragging about how they're getting money like this and like that, but a lot of the money that they're getting is still dependent upon a man. If they weren't getting that OnlyFans money from guys, they wouldn't have a business. So this whole idea that they're creating something, we know a lot of these women, they're only in industries like hair, or beauty, or selling bundles. That's why they're opening a lot of businesses that don't need a loan, because you don't need a loan to open a OnlyFans or a YouTube channel or sell bundles. So it's not a case of they're really getting it out of the mud like that. It's just that they are they're doing so-called businesses that aren't necessarily in need of a loan. I don't think men should tell women what is ladylike. However, I don't think men should tell women what's ladylike. However, I don't think women should be telling what man should be. Yeah, women cannot tell. Women will have a harder time telling um men anything because women are emotional. They're more inclined to short-term thought processes, which means the way that they view a situation is more to do with how something makes them feel in the immediate time. And that, there's a lot going on in the future. So, you have to play the game with several steps ahead in mind. And unfortunately, women just tend to not be those kind of long-term thinkers. And so, a lot of women who have never even been in the presence of masculine men. And this is one of the reasons why I started this live stream, because I was in a conversation about this concept of black women creating the men they complain about. I really, it gets annoying when people are disingenuous to think that the way you're raised or the example you've had set for you for like the most crucial developmental part of your life, which is childhood, doesn't impact who you become as an adult. When people say things like that to me, it doesn't really make any sense to me because, and I tell you why it doesn't make sense to me. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It's very hypocritical of a lot of black women to say, I've been through trauma, like that chick that said it's offensive for black women to smile. Not that it wasn't the girl who said she was offended by black men asking her to smile. It was the other girl who said, we've been through a lot of trauma. So how come you've been through trauma and you can use that as an excuse not to smile? But when a black man says he's been through trauma, it doesn't matter. He still needs to pull himself up by his bootstraps. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah, I do believe that a man is more objective in the way he views gender roles. He may not be able to tell you all the intricacies of what it's like to be a woman, but he knows what it's like to experience femininity. And that's what a lot of black men are talking about. They want to be able to say, when I am in the presence of a feminine woman, this is what it feels like. This is what I want you to exude. This is the skills and the traits I want you to have. And so in a lot of instances, the problem is black women are just not listening. So I would rather take sometimes femininity advice from a man, because at the end of the day, it's a man I'm trying to attract. It's a man I'm trying to keep. It's a man I'm trying to retain. It's a relationship with a man. I need to understand how he thinks and feels, because women, they always like to talk about, even men who counsel other men about relationships, they're like, when you say this, when you do this, this is how the woman interprets it. Well, guess what? Men interpret certain actions a certain way as well. It doesn't matter how what you meant when you said or did what you did. He still has feelings. And the way you act, your tone of voice, the way you're sharp, the way you don't do certain things, the way you argue, the way you question, all these things, the man interprets it a certain way. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. Women out here talking about my truth. What you mean by my truth is, I want you to validate my interpretation. Yes, the fact that you have a feeling is true, but that doesn't make your interpretation true. And that's where women try to conflate the way you make me feel with what's actually true. They switch back and forth between the truth and how you make me feel, depending on how convenient it is. And so I would rather, because really and truly, I'm not saying being feminine or being a woman is that easy, but it's like there are certain things men are asking for that are just, can you please catch yourself? When you feel like you're going to start raising your voice, can you kind of tone it down a bit? When you feel like you're going to cuss me out and call me out of my name, could you please just not do that? If I ask you, can you do something? Could you just do it without questioning or arguing? We don't need no mystical femininity out here. Because I'm going to keep it a buck. I was listening to Vicky Dillon yesterday. I started to listen to her breakdown or her thing with Umar Johnson going at Kevin Samuels. And one of the first videos I actually did that was edited was called Mystical Femininity is Keeping a Lot of Black Women Single. I don't want to hear nothing about the universe, the ether, ocean. I don't care. And I've even said this to Christian people. You cannot be so heavenly minded that you have no earthly good. You cannot be so spiritual that you literally don't live in the physical realm at all. Because the disciples came to Jesus and said, is it right for us as followers of Christ to pay taxes? He said, bring me a coin. Whose face do you see on the coin? They said, Caesar. He said, well, then give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. It's that simple. If you live in the physical realm, you have to operate with certain physical principles. You're not spirit, you're physical. If you live in the city, or if you live in an area where commercialism is the reality and the norm, you cannot talk about, I'm just going to pray and hopefully manna from heaven is going to fall on my plate. No, you've got to go and work, get a paycheck, or build a business, or get some stream of income and provide for your family. Jesus was a carpenter. Paul made tents. People were shepherds. People did all kinds of professions. They still had a spiritual life, but they weren't naive enough to think that, oh, I can just run around here preaching and being a spiritualist like Umar Johnson, all talk and no action, and just, magic a community. Hey girl, how you doing? We've got some new people in the building. Yes, men are reinforcing this mentality. They're literally funding their own their destruction. I never got my truth. What if your truth is there's no such thing as the law of gravity? If I walk off the Ambassador Bridge, my truth will have been proven a lie. The thing about it is this, and a lot of people, they had issues with what AMS said about lying to women, but a lot of women want to be lied to. But we're going to get into it. Now, this lady said these women are building business. Okay, let's just say we can call it that. You are going and you're funding your life by creating an OnlyFans. You've created a product, which is yourself. You've put it out on the internet, and now you're getting money and you're investing. But the thing about it is this, as much as we don't want to make excuses for men, the community we live in the West is centered around female success. So I was just wondering what happened to you. Yeah, it's a thing where, my mood is up and down, and somebody has to really prod me properly for me to get furious enough to make a live stream sometimes, because I see a lot, but there's a lot of things I don't have the energy to go back and forth on it. But so this video was uploaded yesterday, so we're just going to go through it. So she's out here saying, oh, men need to stop funding OnlyFans. And that's true. When you're doing things like that, you are literally putting women on a pedestal, and you're creating the very monsters you're complaining about. So stop funding these chicks who are basically getting paid to do nothing but parade their body. On that, I do agree. Okay, so let's go back into it.
Women being able to buy homes. The conversation went to Black women have debt.
Which
Black
is true.
women have student loan debt and mortgage debt. They literally reversed the conversation off of them onto women. I said, wait a minute, let me get this fucking straight. Are you literally complaining that a woman spent money on her education and like real estate acquisition? Are you really complaining that she has debt because she has a higher education and that she owns assets?
Okay, so here we go again with this whole Black women and education thing. A lot of Black women do have debt, but they don't own a home. They do have debt, but they're not building a business. They literally got a degree in a lot of subjects that they're not even working in. We know this. This is commonplace and has been for a long time, that not every profession you even want to go into, you actually need a degree. And if there are ways, or you don't have to go to the top college or whatever to actually get the same qualification, so that you could leave with the same qualification but less debt. We know that. We know that to be true already. That's not even up for debate anymore. People want to be able to brag about the prestigious colleges they went to, but they didn't really need to go and get that huge amount of debt, only to end up not even working in the field that they studied in. So, but once again, the point that she's trying to make is that black men are intimidated or upset because black women are educated. And once again, the two things are completely separate. Nobody, men care about a woman being educated when he is highly educated, because he wants a woman that can actually educate his children. That's what he wants. He wants a woman who actually has common sense. She values education, and so she's going to instill those principles in his kids. That's the biggest thing he's most, concerned about. It's not actually is she, oh wow, I'm so enamored, because the reason women used to be attracted to men with a high degree of education is because it meant he had the capacity to be a provider. But the woman's not supposed to be the provider, but she is supposed to be educated and have certain principles about her, certain breeding and things like that, that make her an asset in terms of raising kids. So men don't want women who lead with their accomplishments. They don't want women who lead with their they don't want women who lead with their education, like, you should compensate for the things that I lack in terms of my S&V because I got a degree. I mean, she knows this. We all know this. But again, it's the let me play stupid game. Let me pretend like I don't know what black men are really trying to say. Agreed. I don't fund porn. Yeah, don't fund porn. Let those women go and get a real job if they want money. Okay? You didn't get a notification. I don't know why. So let's YouTube is playing.
That shit was so, like, it just blew my entire fucking mind. The black community is going to be bankrupt because the men in the community are so focused on the women in the community, they have lost sight of what they need to be doing.
Okay, so this was the bit that wound me up, right? This is the bit that made me say, I gotta turn on this computer. Oh my gosh. The men are focused on the women in the community because they are raised to be focused on the women of the community. And they are raised to be focused on the women of the community, in part because you have older generation men who have nothing to show for themselves. And the only thing that they care about is bragging about how many bad B's they can get. I'm not going to pretend that a lot of the problems in the black community are not down to older generation people who actually keep the dysfunction in the black community going. They deliberately feed the younger generation of men and women, or girls and boys, into this system, because you have men out here teaching you how to get women all the time and finesse and scam them out of their panties. And I'm not going to completely slam the guys who talk about game, and game is just social skills. Game is just learning how to talk to women and project yourself and blah blah blah. But it's become almost like a religion, and that's a problem, because the whole I get hoes, I get bees, that argument is a gynocentric argument, because deep down, really all you're doing is measuring your masculinity by how many women you can get. And that means that your masculinity is rooted externally. It's not in actual masculine traits. It's in things like how many women give you validation. Sorry. So you can't be out here as a man talking about the reason why I'm a real man is because you don't know how many chicks I've got on a rotation. That's not it. Okay, so she has a point. Men need to be focused on things that are tangible, things that actually make you a masculine man. But at the same time, women deliberately raise boys who are weak. They deliberately raise boys who are effeminate. They deliberately get with men who don't have a plan. They deliberately get with men who won't marry them before kids, or they're having kids before they actually before they get married. And so they're bringing all this baggage into their relationships, and then they're wondering why they can't secure a decent partner. So when she said men are focused on women, well, that's how the women want it. This is the dynamic a lot of them want. Yo, can you chill out? This is the dynamic a lot of them want, because they want weak men. They actually want men who, can't lead. They want men who can't produce, because a man who can produce has options. A man who can produce is going to have standards and is going to require certain things of them. And the reason why I say that is this: Kevin Samuels, whether you like him or you loathe him, whether you think he's one thing or another, at the end of the day, I don't really care about his personal life, because I'm not really watching Kevin Samuels to follow Kevin Samuels. What interests me the most is the way these women respond to him. This is a black man who, at least now, is definitely making well in excess of 7 figures just from his YouTube channel alone. He's talking about high value men. He's talking about, creating more high value men, so there's more on the market. He's talking about marriage, black love. As much as he doesn't mind if people date out, he does actually want to see black couples together. And yet this man has been dragged 7 ways. He's been dragged by black women and called every name under the sun. And what's interesting about this to me is, why, if he's a man who's actually supporting marriage, family, black love, he's talking about the system. He's talking about the reason why, women are the way they are is because there's a system that wants to keep black people separated. Why the hell would somebody who's, purporting this message, would you drag him? So you've got Umar Johnson, who's been talking about for like 100 years about a school. Up to now, we can't see no school, and these women are fawning over him. But then you have Kevin, who's like, look, you got some work to do, ladies. And they're like, oh, let's drag him. Let's call him gay. Let's call him this. Let's go and find his ex-wife. Nah. I did a video a long time ago called Black Women Secretly Don't Want a Functioning Community. And if you haven't watched it, go check it out. But as the title suggests, black women only talk. But a lot of black women really don't want to do the work, and they don't want to see a change in the current state of the community because it benefits them. They like the state of the community because they retain power, and they get their power from white supremacy. Dude, how many times is this going to die? So that irritated me a lot, Yes, these men. And let me say something else. I was on Instagram the other day, right? And there was a video of like this young guy. He's a teenager, and he's like stroking his mother's hair. And the comment section was just gushing like, oh, look at this. This is so beautiful. He loves black women's hair. Oh, it's so wonderful. And like the women were doing heart emojis, heart in the eyes. And you know me already. I'm just like, no wonder you guys, you complain about weak men, but you guys are, I get blocked everywhere because I don't hold back. I don't have the political correctness to be like, let me just drop it in a nice way. I'm like, you guys, everywhere I go, I'm like, oh, Kevin Samuels is gay. I'm like, oh, no one loves a gay man like a black woman. Okay? I'm not even going to waste my time pulling up YouTube channels of openly gay men. And the comment section is full of black women. You're so fierce. I love you. Oh, the shade. Oh, the shade. Oh, you're so funny. Yeah, we love them when they do our hair and nails. Yeah, they're our bestie, but we don't want to date them. Well, if you don't want to date them, but they're your best friends, why are you using their sexuality as an insult? Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know what this chick just said.
Don't forget that. Okay?
So she's overweight.
Oh, no, Cheri, we know that there's a difference. The problem is there's so many of them. There's so many of them because you create them. There's so many men like this because you create them. If you are not going to date and procreate with, a reasonable man, guess what? You're going to have weak sons because a woman cannot raise a man to be a boy to be a man.
So you've got a community of women who love effeminate men when it suits them, and then they suddenly complain like, where are all the good men at? Where are all the builders? Where are all the providers? When I hear a woman saying that, I switch off, because it's either I switch off or I flip. So it's like I pick switch off. But this, she thinks she's saying something, but she's not saying anything. She's not saying anything. Right flex culture. What's it? The stream. You like the stream? Yeah, like the stream. What are you guys doing? Kevin Samuels makes 136. He needs to cut me a joking. Cynthia G said he stole her talking points, but even if that was the case, she should be happy that her ideas are pervasive. We're going to get into that later on, because she's just a ridiculous person. He want what? He want my mom and I ain't that close. Oh, what? What? He want my mom and I ain't that close. We joke around though. That's it. Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between having a good relationship with your mom, but a time has to come where you kind of have to break the umbilical cord. And a lot of Black women, with their controlling behavior or with their coddling, they deliberately emasculating their boys. Oh, just missed it again. They're deliberately emasculating their boys so that they will be weak and effeminate. Because it's like, if you really wanted masculine men, you would have ideas and plans to enrich the lives of your boys. I don't have a problem with Black girl magic, because we know the white-owned mainstream media is not going to promote black girls. They're not going to show Black girls in roles that are positive and uplifting, cute, feminine. They're not going to show attractive dark-skinned women with good natural hair. Do you know what I mean? They always make sure the darker-skinned woman is either looking overly sexual, or or they replace darker-skinned Black women with feminine, non-dark or racially ambiguous women. So it kind of sends a subliminal message, like to a white person, they will say, well, this is a Black person, like Meghan Markle representing all Black women kind of thing. And it's like, she can't really represent all Black women, because a lot of Black women can't identify with her. But this is the mind trick that they play on Black women all the time. Okay? So I'm not against positive promotion of dark-skinned Black women, because we do need it. But the thing is, okay, you're a Black woman, so you care about Black girls. But guess what? 50% of the babies you birth are male. So what are you doing for the Black boys that you give birth to? Oh, nothing. So it's like, you have Black girl magic, Black girls rock, Black girl this, Black girl that. But when it comes on to investing in the sons you give birth to, there's absolutely nothing, not even teaching them to read. So I don't understand, what you're talking about when you talk about wanting to build a community, when you're not even doing anything to actually, you're not actually doing anything to enrich the lives of the boys that will then become the men of tomorrow. Okay? Told you, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, bro. Where's that picture gone?
They even give us the responsibility of raising sons. They say, oh, all these single moms, as if their mom wasn't a single mom. As if...
First and foremost, leave my mom out of it. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand why you would even say that, as if your mom wasn't a single mom. Well, guess what? If she was a single mom that didn't do a very good job, maybe that's why he's got some criticisms. Did that ever occur to you? Like, this is what we mean about these women trying to use the matriarchal, I don't know what to call it. It's kind of like an inbuilt remote control. These women always try to implant a trigger in Black men that they can evoke anytime they want to. It's like, oh, look at us like your mother and your sister. Okay, so why don't you look at us like your father and your brother? I hate that guy. Don't mention him to me. Oh, I missed the jump again. Don't mention it to me. You have to look at me like your mother, your sister, your auntie, your cousin. But I can disrespect you anyway, because I don't respect my brother, my uncle, my father. That's a double standard. That's a double standard. Black women don't do anything to enrich, the male half of the community, but yet they want them to build after they haven't equipped them or enriched them in any way to be builders. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It makes sense to black women because they want to keep that gynocratic control over black men. It's like they completely and deliberately sabotage the community and then afterwards pretend like it's like throwing a rock and hiding your hand. It's like, I don't know how the community got like this. So now I've jumped down off my soapbox. Where are we? So Dimitri said Cynthia G. So, I mean, Cynthia G saying he stole her talking points is one of the most desperate acts of clout chasing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, I didn't think it would get any more ridiculous. And then here was Umar on the scene. I don't like being talked to in that mummy type patronizing voice. I tell my grandma to stop it when I visit. Yeah, tell her to stop. Because, all of these things are part of the way that women keep their hold over black men. It's like every time you try to break free of that image of being like a kid, they try to drag you back into it. This is why a lot of the times children in general have issues with their mothers, because mothers by nature have a thing where they always want to kind of coddle or clip the wings of their children. And we're not talking about old children. We're talking about from maybe 8 or 9 or something. These children want to kind of expand and grow, and they just start resenting their mothers. That's why children, we had this male feminist on originally the breakdown, A Woman's Perspective, but then afterwards he appeared on Obsidian and even Bernard yesterday, and it was like the woman is more capable of raising children because she gives birth to children. But we know that children who are raised by single fathers do better than children raised by single mothers. Even if it's not by a huge amount, the outcome is still better. And so if you're saying you don't care because the woman gives birth, because she has a womb by default, that she should get custody of kids, that's a ridiculous statement. And what it shows is you don't really care about the outcome of the child. You only care about the desires and the wants of the woman. But we know feminism never really cares about children. That's why feminists never protest for, daycare at work. If you've got an increasing population of single mothers, why aren't you campaigning for workplaces to have daycare on site or to subsidize daycare so these women can actually work? Because one of the reasons why women sometimes, there's no pay gap. There's no wage gap. It's a pay gap because women do shift work. They take more time off work because of kids and things like this. So overall, they earn less when they're in the same professions because they work less, because they have commitments to children. That's it. They're not being, victimized because they're female. But, if you don't care about kids, then you're not going to care that these females want to work, but they can't work because they've got children. But feminism never promotes anything to do with actually caring for kids. The only thing they promote is going to work and getting an education. But Dimitri says, right, I went over to Sinji's lives and I was explaining how you have to invest in young black boys and the cultivating of young black boys, thus providing even more black women with enhanced protection. But I explained through a super chat. Oh, you mean Paco Jackson? He's part of the problem, no matter how masculine he feels he is. He ain't masculine. He ain't about nothing. He ain't about nothing. He's one of these guys who capitalize on the brokenness of the black community. Okay? He's probably living with a woman. He's feeding off a woman. And so he's got to protect his investment, which is the chicks that feel empowered by him. Okay? The guys, the drones of the gynocracy, these men who validate women and everyone likes to talk about cheerleaders, but no one is a bigger cheerleader than a male feminist. But again, it's all about whether it's self-serving. When the male feminist is serving the gynocracy, being a cheerleader is not a problem. And no one is a bigger cheerleader than these effeminate males. but they're only cheerleaders because they want to live off you. But again, AMS had a point. These women want to be lied to, so lie to them. It's like you don't want to advocate for lying to women. And I'm not going to, there's certain situations, obviously don't do it, because we know we have Me Too and just makes you a little bit of a trashy person. But in some respects, you can't reason with the unreasonable. Okay? If someone's telling you the truth and they're killing you because, I think, who was it who said that? Was it Paul? He said, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Yeah, you will become an enemy to some people because you tell them the truth, because they rather a lie. They suppress the truth, Romans 1. They suppress the truth in unrighteousness because they don't want to deal with the truth. So, boy, if you want to be lied to, there'll always be somebody who'll make money off that lie. And that's not their fault, that's your fault. Especially in this day and age. Okay? In this day and age, if you want the truth, you can find it. But, do you want it? So, where are we? This chick out here talking some rubbish about nothing.
Because if it's so many, they literally remove the man completely from any type of accountability.
It's not that the man is removed from accountability. At the end of the day, you're accountable for who you have children with, because you don't live in a community that forces you into marriage. You don't live in a community where you go to the market with a cow thinking that you're going to sell the cow, and the cow you're carrying is a dowry. And you go and meet an old man and you go home and be his wife. You don't live in that community. Any man you date or sleep with, unless it's called a crime, you voluntarily pick that man. So you don't have the luxury to be like, oh, I want the freedom of choice. Sorry. Shut my colleague in the face. You don't have the luxury of picking whoever you want to pick and then complaining that he turns out to not be what you want. If you're like, oh, these men are not fathers, well, you should know if he's got the capacity to be a father before you let him father your child. That's like, I don't understand why 1 + 1 is 2. It's like, what do you mean? Because how is it my fault that he's not a good dad? Well, you picked him. Didn't you ask before you got pregnant for the guy? No, because I just liked him. It's like, well, that's your fault. So it's not that men shouldn't step up, but you're trying to fix the problem after you've created it. Why didn't you just try to avoid the problem in the first place? And even if that was the case, okay, own it. Don't be like, oh, these men are just picking on black women. Let me get my violin out. No, you picked that guy. You picked that guy. You knew who he was when you got with him. So why are you now pretending like you didn't know that he was a deadbeat? Oh, he was broke. Oh, he, lady from Seattle, as they like to say, allegedly has a child with a man who has several children and he doesn't take care of anyone. It's like all these chicks that run behind Future. You know what you're getting when you pick up a Future. You're not that special that after he gets with you and you have children for him, he's going to do you any differently than any of the other women he got pregnant. You're just, I don't know if you're hoping against hope or lying to yourself or what. But yeah, he's not going to change for you. You're not that special. And so again, these women, they love to thrive on the victimhood of, oh, we were just done dirty by these men. No, you were done dirty by the women who came before you, who didn't tell you how to pick a decent man before you started being sexually active. And the reason why some of you had that experience is because you didn't have a father to give you that non-sexual validation, and that's how you ended up in the situation you were in. So this is not the day. Oh, who is shooting me? This person is shooting me. He has no manners. Okay. So he says, when I was in 8th grade, I was browsing YouTube and I ended up finding out about the feminist movement versus MGTOW. I always knew something was wrong, but I could never place my finger on it. Now I see. Yeah, you see, that's the thing. It's one hive mind. It's a whole Jedi mind trick out here. What black women do to black men, because they always, I don't know if the correct word is postulate. They always put it across that the issue is the black men are failing, but they are disingenuous about the fact that the reason why black men are failing is because black women raise them to be failures. They deliberately raise them in a way that has they deliberately raise them in a way that makes them unable to be productive, because other cultures, the women understand the importance of having a man who's going to be a good father for the children, who's going to be, a masculine role model, who can provide. They don't have ridiculously high standards like, I need a mansion and I need, a Mercedes, and, if you can't buy me a Birkin and all this rubbish. They actually just have average and reasonable expectations. They go and live an average reasonable life, build well, have a middle class life. They pass a little something down to their kids. Maybe they inherit something from their elders, and they just keep it going. And every generation is not starting from ground zero, because the previous generation left them something. Even if it wasn't a lot of money, it was at least a mentality and a blueprint. But black people are starting from ground zero every generation, because you have these, boneheads, these boneheaded women talking rubbish about Birkins, as if, if you get certain bags, like maybe a Hermes or something, yeah, that thing could grow in value over time, because it's a name brand designer, the leather is good, yada yada yada. I know people who've had Hermes bags for decades. That thing is still valuable to this day. But the vast majority of the things that black people spend their money on is not even something that's an asset that can grow in value in time. It's not even, what's good, Cichlid? It's not even something that is of value in 5 years. We buy TVs. I'm not hating on Jordan, but unless you're getting some limited edition Jordans that you never wear, they're in the box, and you can sell them in 10 or 20 years time for like 10 times the price, there really isn't much point in having huge amounts of Jordans. Now, I'm not hating on somebody who likes Jordans and that's their passion. Everybody's got hobbies and interests and things they like to collect. I'm not going to demonize somebody for that. But at the same time, we've got to be realistic. If you're spending all of your income on things that have no capacity to grow in value, then you're always going to be poor. You're basically squandering the inheritance that the generation after you should get. So, all this talk about generational wealth, again, this is just a smokescreen that black women hide behind as if they really care. But if they cared about generational wealth, they would actually be talking as well about things like family. Okay, so also I introduced my friend, a black woman my age, to Red Pill content, and it went well. You are right though, Auntie, it's not easy. Yeah, if they're socialized a certain way, they're more likely to be receptive, because if they come from a more traditional background, they're more likely to understand that this is just common sense. But if they come from a background of feminism and if you're in the West, you're probably going to be a feminist minded person because you're indoctrinated at a very young age. You've got drag queens reading to kids. You've got a lot of you can't watch any show or any commercial without it being full of homosexuality or trans people. The only acceptable male is the effeminate male in this society. And so for that reason, even if you are a straight man, you're more likely to have a female frame of mind, because you're told all the time to be overly in touch with your feelings and process everything through your feelings instead of being pragmatic. But that's all part of the mind trick. That's all part of the mind trick to keep men in a position of weakness. The education system, we know, is set up in a way that it's conducive to female success but not male success, because boys need time to run around, burning energy, building muscle releases or boost testosterone. When males have more testosterone, they can concentrate, they can be more logical, they can be more productive. When you're telling males to be in their feelings all the time, their testosterone becomes lower, and they become more insecure, they become more like fearful, they struggle to have clarity with their mind, they become more agitated, they're actually more inclined to be aggressive and abusive because they're irritated within themselves. And so this culture promotes feminine men who ultimately go on to be dangerous, useless men. That's why it's a big scam. All this, I'm not saying men don't have feelings or they shouldn't be in touch with their feelings, but this notion of we need feminine men is actually what's keeping, especially in the black community with a lot of males being raised by women alone, is actually what's keeping a lot of these black men in a compromised position. So I just didn't want her to end up confused. Yeah, I mean, you can't really red pill people until they're ready to be red pilled. A lot of them are not going to thank you for it because you're trying to show them something they really don't want to see. So there's a way to do it, and I'm not going to say I've perfected the art, but there's a way to do it where you're just dropping in gems. And if they're asking you questions like, why do you think like that, or why do you see it like that, then you know that they're receptive to the conversation. Red pilling people with content, especially, and this is why people like Jessica X are quite valuable, because women only want to take advice from other women. And so when they hear women actually discussing these things, they're already more receptive to the conversation because it's coming from a female. So feminine men. One second. This game is so backwards, I can't actually pause it. I'm not gonna hide somewhere. Stocks and Cichlid says stocks and bonds. He has been the number one investment in the past 200 years. Definitely. Demetri said feminine men, aka watered down men. They're not even watered down men. They're just emotional men. They're men with no clarity, no purpose, no dominance, no drive. They're literally men who just want to be led by women because they don't feel competent within themselves to take that role of leadership. But again, if you have a mother that's always coddling you and always doing things for you, you never develop the skills of leadership. You never develop the skills of masculinity because she's always cutting you down. Like when you hear black mothers saying, oh, I brought you into this world and I can take you out. No matter how big you get, you're never too big for a ass whooping and things like that. These are emasculating statements that make black men constantly beholden to black women because they feel like the woman can never be challenged. Whereas we know in the black community, it's a running joke that, white kids call their mothers by their first name and cuss them out. They don't care. I mean, I was in the presence of a white guy once and his mother was saying something to him. And he's like, well, mother, that's why you're ignorant. The mother's old. The mother was a grown. The two of them were grown. And he's talking to her with that level. I was just like, let me just turn my face and pretend like I didn't hear what I just heard. No respect. And I'm not saying no respect like that. But they don't have their mothers on a pedestal like she can do no wrong. That's why they're able to break free of that matriarchal mindset and go and be men. But in the black community, they're like, I'll always be your mama, you'll always be my baby. And it's like you're telling that grown man, no matter how old you get, you're always a baby. And then you wonder why these brothers are weak and childish and needing to be led by women. And they gravitate towards strong, well, not really strong, controlling women. Okay, so thing moving fast now. Mark says, I spent 60% of my income on boxing events. I might be in London for the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury boxing event in Wembley Stadium. Nice. When they say men should be in touch with their feelings, it's just measure. It just means when it benefits them. If it doesn't, we're supposed to men up. Exactly. everything with the women is always about, it's just like Kevin recently asked the question, but it's asked before, why are you single, without blaming men. The same thing is true of like, what do you encourage men to do that doesn't benefit women? Because a lot of the things that women talk about that they want from men, they only want it because it benefits them. If it doesn't benefit them in some way, they don't really want it. And the thing about it is this: you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're creating men that you can't respect, you can't follow, who can't lead, who can't build. And it's like, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I'm creating weak men, but then I'm complaining that these weak men can't provide. Well, you can't have it both ways. What comes with a man who can build and be dominant is, unfortunately, he's going to also dominate you. So either pick a weaker man that you can respect and follow, or get with a dominant man and be a feminine woman. There's only two ways about it. There's only going to be one bull reigning in this pen. Okay? There's only going to be one man. So if you want to be the man as the woman, guess what? Your man is going to be the woman. During high school, my friends were explaining how she was subbed to the pink pill, and she broke down the descent of her message and how she became biased. And that's the thing. A lot of people coming into this space right now, because Kevin is reaching out to so many different platforms and bringing audiences from other places. What's actually happening is people are coming into the space with a more unbiased attitude. When you come into the space from the manosphere or from the women's sector, you have a biased view of men and women already, which kind of interferes with your ability to objectively talk the talking points through. So when you have people who have never seen any red pill content, they don't even know about the manosphere, saying Kevin is right, that adds valid, credence to his argument. Or the men who espouse these talking points, because you can't say this person was primed, oh, this person is biased because they grew in the hand of the manosphere. This is one of the reasons why I had an issue with Aaron Fountain. He made a video talking about, the men of the manosphere turn on their female content creators. And some of the women in that video were not even part of the manosphere. They were just older women who had a bit more life experience and common sense. And they were like, I don't see what's wrong with Kevin Samuels' message. I don't really understand why these women are railing against it. But, he's trying to play a game where he's trying to lump everybody into one sector, as if to say anybody who speaks common sense is automatically a red pill manospherian. But, I mean, that's the trick he's trying to play. And we see what you're doing, Aaron. But, yeah, that's how he's trying to manipulate the conversation to make it seem like, oh, don't ever support black men, black women, because they're only going to turn on you. And that might happen. That might be true. You might get turned on. But that doesn't change the fact that, okay, well, you might go to the army and die. You might go to the army and come back with half your limbs missing. Does that mean you're not going to fight because you might die? People still go to battle knowing that that's the risk you run. And if you're trying to build something in the community, maybe you being a casualty is the risk you also have to run. But at least she's now aware. But at least she's aware now she's still my friend. We grew up together. Yeah, that's good, because she respects you. So she kind of trusts you that if you're telling her something, it's not just, oh, you're a man, you're a woman hater, you're a misogynist or whatever. It's like, I trust this guy. So, you have the ability to get through to her. Whereas it's natural when you come across red pill content to have a very visceral reaction, because I had that as well. I was like, oh, these men are dangerous. I was like, oh my God, they hate us. They're going to kill us. They're going to catch us in the street. I'm walking down the street thinking, is he one of them? Is he one of them? I literally did. I was like, oh, what if he hates women like these guys online? But, as we always say, it's like the train wreck that you can't stop looking at. You don't want to watch, but you can't help it. But the more you kind of think, is there validity to this, you realize they're actually making solid points. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but they make good points if you just objectively look at the situation. Okay, it simply said Benjamin Franklin told his bank to donate his savings to charity, but wait, 200 years later, his $4,000 turned into 6 million. That's good. You see? And so let's get back into this video.
Quote Kevin Samuels on everything that he has to say, except for when he says that men have to be responsible, except when he says that men have to step up and start taking the lead. And they will quote anything and everything but that. And I need you, Dusties. This is why I need you, Dusties, to understand. Please stop saying shit like, well, women do it, why can't I? I have told you, motherfucker, over and over and over again. Women do women shit. Women do female shit. You're not a female. That's why. God, like, Jesus Louise. If you want to be sitting down, then just say that.
Okay, so here we go now with the sign language and the double standard. It's like, oh, a woman can get away with doing anything she wants to do as long as it benefits her, even if it's wrong. But when a man critiques her for doing it, then all of a sudden, I mean, I've never heard a man say, if women can do it, why can't men? I always hear it the other way around. I always hear women competing to be with men and to be like men and to do what men are doing. I never hear men saying, if women can do it, why can't men? And that kind of goes back to the argument with the male feminists yesterday, talking about I'm here for equality, but it's only one way. When the woman is perceived to be in a disadvantaged position, then the woman has to be helped to come up to the level of the man. But when the woman is in an advantageous position, the man doesn't want to support the man's position to come up to the level of the woman. So again, anytime these women can't really counter the talking points, they have to go to shaming language. So it's if you want a piece sitting down. I mean, why are Dusties even on your radar? Why are you even looking at them or talking to them? That's what I can't understand. You see, these women, they're always complaining about the men they entertain. Even if you're talking about guys you're talking to on the internet, why are you so fixated on the Dusties, the quote unquote Dusties, when you have, men out there who are actually handling their business, which you did acknowledge exist? Why do black women fixate on the men they claim to not want? Cynthia G spends all day talking about breaking down the pathology of the Dusty. Why are you breaking down the pathology of men you shouldn't even be entertaining? Because those are the men you're sleeping with. Those are the men you like. Those are the men you want. And you hate the fact that the men you want can't do anything for you. So instead of just saying that, you build an entire platform talking as though all black men are dusty. Cynthia G, I'll see you. Where am I? See, this is my problem with channels like Real Talk with Yanni. You preach community and you want to be women-centered instead of preaching how investing in men will help the community. And that's why I titled it like this, because I haven't got the statistics, I haven't done the research like I need to put that together in a bit more of a concise manner. But these women only hide behind the smokescreen of the concept of a community. That's the trigger word, that's the emotional buzzword that they use to make it look like they actually give a damn. Okay? But they really don't care about a community. Or when they talk about community, people project. Black men think of men, women, children, and families. Black women think of black women and their kids when they say community. And when I heard that for the first time, I said, no, it's a bit of a reach. But I realized it really is like that. Because why do black women only... Because I got into it with somebody before I was unceremoniously removed from the Kevin Samuels fans Facebook group because they want ID. But I'm not mad about it, though. Not in the slightest. I'm stuck. What was I saying? somebody was saying like, oh, we want a community, and I was like, okay, so what do you do to support the community? What do you think of Black Girls Rock and Black Girls Magic or something? And this chick was like, oh yeah, I support it. And she's like, you know, I can't remember what she said. She said some rubbish. And I said, you're out here saying that women should support girls. I said, well, but women give birth to sons, and women who don't have daughters support Black Girls Rock. So why can't women who don't have sons support some initiatives to invest in Black boys? And I can't even remember what she said. I think she just went silent. She just disappeared from the conversation, which is what always happens, because these women want it one way. They want it one way. In their eyes, the community is nothing more than Black. The community is nothing but Black women and Black girls. The Black man is just supposed to be there to facilitate certain things and keep everything running and you know, provide sperm for them when they want kids. But they don't actually want a functioning community. That's why I watched this response to Kevin Samuels, and I said it earlier and I say it again. I don't really care about whether he's high value. I don't really care whether he's got high value men on deck. I don't care if it's all just one big elaborate scam. What I'm looking at is the response. What Black women respond to. When you drag them, they complain. When you insult them, they complain. When you give them advice, they complain. When you kiss their behind and tell them what they want to hear, they stick with you until you say something they don't want to hear, then they complain. So what that tells me is deep down, they don't really want to see change. They just want to complain. They only want to complain, and they're complaining about the men that they're dealing with. That's why they don't want to invest in their boys, because they know if they invest in their boys, those boys will eventually go to rule over their girls. They want equality, but only for them. Exactly. One-way equality. But no, she says she only interested in how Black women benefit, not knowing that in order to fix the Black community, some people will have to bite the bullet. Yeah, a lot of Black people are going to have to die. I said it. A lot of Black people are going to die. They are going to die alone. They are going to die with somebody, or they're gonna perish. I don't know what word to use, but they're going to perish. You know, because you can't save a community, or you can't save people who don't want to be saved. This is the issue. A lot of Black people like the dysfunction. They like the dysfunction. So all this talk about we want to see a community is just a joke. These people don't want to see a community. All these old players and chicks talking about whole culture and, you know, you got to get the bag, and all these people benefit from the dysfunction. And Umar Johnson is one of those people. All this queen goddess BS that he out here spitting every day is nothing more than to lull Black women. You know, he's not even lulling them to sleep, because deep down they know the truth. But they need enablers. They need men who will be their attack dog. They need to make it look like they're not just a group of men haters. And so they have to find men who will espouse their talking points, because Umar makes all his money from lying to Black women. So why are you upset with Kevin, who tells you the truth, but you have no problem with a man? I mean, Umar's never been married. Kevin's been married twice, as far as I'm aware, to Black women. Umar has 2 kids by 2 different women. As far as I'm aware, he doesn't take care of either of them, not necessarily like on a full-time basis. But women will still gravitate towards baby daddy Umar than Kevin, who was married for more than 25 years. Because he was married to one woman for 20 years and another woman for however many years, I don't know. So it doesn't make sense that you have an issue with Kevin but not Umar. Unless you understand that the goal is not to have a functioning community, it's actually to find men who will enable the gynocracy with you. You know, I got no dog in this fight, so I'm trying to win this thingy, but I can't win it. Where are we now? George says pulling the whole arguing with women card is a way to shut things down. They can't argue a point logically, so they pull that one. Always, there's always a way to shut the conversation down. And it's, oh, an effeminate man, a real man doesn't argue with women. I'm just like, and again, that's why we need more women in the space, and men have to support them, because at the end of the day, those women are going to be the ones taking the hit from females who are like, real men don't argue with women. Okay, so let's you and me argue. Let's you and me have a conversation. But when black men don't back the women who actually, join the fray and whatever you want to call it, then it's like, well, what's the point? Okay, exactly. Ignore the dusties. Don't even look at them. That just shows me that you can't stop peeing around them. They also ignore the fact that not every woman can handle an alpha, as we can see. Yeah, there are some men who prefer to be in a submissive position, and so I'm not gonna hate on a man who's like that. If she can respect him and be like more of the dominant one in the relationship, as long as you're both happy and you're both being respected, there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is this: these women pretend like they want masculine men, but really what they want is, productive betas. They want rich betas. They want guys with a lot of money but no common sense. And a man who's making good money has common sense. A man who can do good in business, well, not actually, let me take that back, because Elon Musk is a little bit beta. I'm not going to lie. Elon Musk is kind of blue pill when it comes to women, even if he's very good when it comes to business. But these are the kind of men they want. Productive betas. Men who can produce a lot of money for them, but will never hold them accountable for anything. And, especially with the internet, a lot of men are not on that anymore. They're just not. Because they're wising up. And, who was it? Was it Steve Harvey? Was it Steve Harvey? I wanted to touch on this video where apparently, I can't even remember who it was. One of these celebrities said their son said he don't want to date dark-skinned black women, even though he's a dark-skinned guy. And it's like, because they're mean to him. A lot of black women think the next generation of black men are getting red pilled because they're watching guys on the internet. But they see the interaction with black women and black men. And they think to themselves, I don't want to sign up for this. And that's where a lot of black women are intellectually dishonest about why there's so much colorism and why a lot of black men are checking out of the dating market with black men. With black men checking out the dating market with black women. Sorry. Where am I? We can also think of the movement that support black women, but where are the big ones that support black boys? Listen carefully, viewers. Make the black people you want to see. Exactly. Umar said his high school will throw any man out that offends any female. Umar will never get a penny of my money. Never, ever, ever. By the way, this is an alternative account. Okay. I usually troll to the extreme fish on this account. Okay, cool. You understand? So if Umar's saying that he's going to exclude any man who criticizes women, well, you're just creating the monsters that, he doesn't care. He really doesn't care. He wants these women to be in a position of power. And so he's going to do everything he can to enable the gynocracy. Okay, he will. Oh. 1 second, people. Okay, I've been blown up. It's fine. I still remember Umar's WWE rant with his fake phone call. Wasn't that when it rang at one point? It was ridiculous. The man is a straight up buffoon. I'm sorry, but he really is. The man is a buffoon. He's weird. He's weird. Yeah, he's very intellectual, and you can say he can put forth a good argument, but his argument is too heavily rooted in victimhood to ever really be beneficial. Because, as you know, he had that thing with Jesse Lee Peterson recently, And it's like, don't get me wrong, you can't. There is white supremacy, but white supremacy sets a trap. Black people choose to walk in the trap. So yeah, Umar's too extreme on one side. Someone like Jesse Lee Peterson is too extreme on the other. Yeah, right in the middle of the court, it rang. I mean, how can you take somebody like this seriously? Come on now, just stop. So this chick now pulling out some, usual dry, very dry, shaming tactics that no one is really feeling with her.
Menstrual cycles say that. If you want to start birthing babies out the back of your ass, then say that. Otherwise, let women do female shit. That's what my boy was saying earlier in his post. Let women do the shit that women do, and let men do things that men do. I don't envy standing up to people. I find it quite inconvenient. You understand what I'm saying? Let women be women. I don't understand what the problem is with that. So, ladies.
So when you're raised in a household like this for years, where you hear let women be women, that's basically whatever they say or do, never hold them accountable, just give them a pass. And then you wonder why these brothers can't stand up to women in their adult life. It's because they're indoctrinated to believe that you're a bad person if you challenge a woman's behavior. Okay? Can't believe this is only 8 minutes.
You over here masculine with these rough ass voices. I don't know if you smoke weed, cigarettes, or both. But I was in Buckhead last week, and these black women were standing in front of me, and I was thinking, wow, those shoes are so low to the ground. You're basically walking on concrete, girl. Where's your heels? Is that the toilet perfume? Because it damn sure wasn't no Chanel. I didn't even get a whiff of a Bath and Body. Okay.
What's that got to do with anything? Go on.
Many of us are lacking in a feminine way. We're lacking.
So now we're getting into the conversation about justifying why you've got to have weave and dragon claw nails and eyelashes, okay? Because that's where she's going with this. We've got to spend thousands on Yaki. We've got to spend the thousands on the Brazilian and the Peruvian. That's where this conversation is going. You don't respect yourself and value yourself because you don't have hair down to your backside that came from a woman in India, okay? And it doesn't go like that. Women of other races, they do what they're doing. They make themselves look presentable, but they understand that their money is to enrich their family, not just to beautify themselves. Again, this is like people talking about the scripture, a woman's beauty should be in righteousness and holiness, not in the braiding of hair. A lot of people take that out of context to think it means a woman shouldn't invest in her appearance, but it just means, you shouldn't think your whole femininity and attractiveness is centered around how you look. Okay, you look good, but does anybody want to take you seriously? It's just ridiculous. We can't do the stuff that men do because people call it problematic. Exactly. When you label everything that's masculine toxic, again, you're trying to put people in a double bind. That's why black men and men in general just have to move away from women. Stop putting them on a pedestal. Stop putting women on a pedestal as if to say they are so fantastic. Just be a man. Do men things. And any woman that can't get on your program, just ditch her. Whatever your program is, if it's sitting around in your underpants all day, playing PlayStation, if she can't work with that program, send her on her way. Not because I advocate for men being unproductive, but because at the end of the day, the same woman who's going to get with an unproductive, female-minded, beta male, whatever she wants to call him, she's going to then be complaining afterwards why he doesn't do the things he was doing at the beginning of the relationship. You knew he was broke, or he was a baby daddy, or he was a violent or a criminal or this or lazy or whatever. He was like that when you met him. Why are you now acting shocked that he's still the same way? So it doesn't make sense for women to get with men that they can't respect and stay with. And I'll hold my hands up. I've done it. That's why I can attest it doesn't work. Get with a man that you can respect. Shout out to Bronzebird in the building, always having some lit live streams. It's just, I start watching out, but you know, the time difference makes it kind of hard. Okay. I've seen black male managers have kowtow and bend to female employees. It's that bad. Yeah. It's gotten that bad. So Bell Butterfly says Kevin Samuels uses shaming tactics. He's also extreme. It's been proven that shaming people does not work. Oh yeah, shaming people like physical punishment of kids doesn't necessarily work. But guess what? Black women need to be shamed. Okay, I wish I could make this comment bigger. Black women need to be shamed because they've gone so far in an extreme manner that the only language they understand is humiliation and rejection. Okay? At the end of the day, when you tell black women this is what we don't like, well, not me personally, but when men tell black women this is what we don't like, oh, what do you mean you don't like single mothers? Oh, as if your mother wasn't a single mother. Oh, what do you mean you don't like big women? Oh, what do you mean you don't like weave? Oh, we only get the weave because you like it. Oh, you validate all these hoes on the internet. Oh, a man can't even have an opinion without the women attacking him. So now it's got to the point where, seeing as you can't have the conversation without you going all up in your feelings, because it's easy to say Kevin Samuels using shaming tactics. What shaming tactic did Ice Cube use when he went on Fox Soul? He didn't shame anybody, but he still was thoroughly disrespected. When Kevin Kelly at True Kitchen told those women get off the furniture twice, it wasn't until he turned around and cussed them out and said, I don't need your money, which is true because he's got multiple streams of income. He's got a good business. He plowed how many millions into that restaurant that came from his other income. Those women were like, check, please. They weren't like, no, I'm not going to lie and say all the women. But the women who are actually doing the twerking could be heard saying, check, please. They would rather leave the restaurant than just respect that this man said, don't stand on my chairs. He didn't say you're bad people for twerking. He didn't say you're a bunch of hoes. He didn't call them out of their name. He said, listen, there are other places you can go and twerk on the furniture and they don't care. But guess what? This is not one of those places. Either you sit on the chair or you freaking leave. And they were like, well, we would rather leave. We'll go. And that's what men have to do. It's like, these are the rules. This is my standard. Either you like it or you bite it. So Kevin Samuels shaming black women, I really don't give a damn about it. Do you know why? Because black women shame black men all the time. You're broke. You're dusty. You're short. You're ugly. You come from a single mother. I mean, how can you talk about shame? And the common vernacular for a black man is a dusty. It's not some men are dusty. It's the black man is equivalent to a dusty. So why do I give a damn about him telling black women about themselves? If black women had more shame, a lot of black women wouldn't be in the situations that they're in. So I really don't care about his shaming language, because black women have no problem using shaming language on black men all the time. Cynthia G has built an entire platform on dusties. So, and the thing that is, what she's telling black women is a complete straw man argument that doesn't make any sense. Her argument makes no sense. If these black men could just build for us, build what? How can you have black men who build when you don't have black women who even teach their sons how to read? What are you going to build with? That don't make no sense. We want black men who build, but then you have black women who don't even think it's important to invest in their sons' education. You see, black women who come online and talk that rubbish, they love to big up the white man. Okay? oh, the white man's ice is colder. How about we talk about the white woman's ice? How about that? Because those white women are not out here talking about Brazilian and Peruvian every day. They're talking about trust funds and bonds and businesses and getting their education so they can build and be part of their husband's team. So if you want to compare black men to white men, why don't you start comparing yourself to white women? Because white women are producing better sons than the black woman is. You see, because I haven't been around for a while, you see, I've got a lot of pent-up aggression. If I've got something to say, I'm going to say it, man. God damn it, say it. Say it, my brother. Speak your piece. Oh, my God. Where's she gone? I hope she hasn't left the building. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't go yet. Where the hell am I? Shaming doesn't seem to be working. I couldn't give a damn if... Let them go. At the end of the day, we're all just looking for one person. If I build a family, you build a family, the people across the road build a family, guess what? That's called a community. All this collectivist argument is a feminine talking point. And it's like, remember when Janae Umar went on Kevin's show, I don't want to just get a black man, and I don't want to be the only one to get a man, and I want all my sisters. That's not statistically possible. Okay, that's not even statistically possible. But again, you're hiding behind the smoke screen of, I care about the community. I don't want to be just having a high value. Listen, you see those white girls? When your back is turned, she's whispering in your man's ear. I would have thought you would have been somebody more like me. I can't believe you would. Do you want to know what she was doing on spring break? And while you think them two are best friends, the one is sowing seed of negativity in the ear of the boyfriend. And before you know it, he's left his girlfriend and gone off with the best friend. They don't play. They're like, I want him. I'm going for him. I'm going to get him. It's only black women that pretend with, oh, you know, I'm out here and I want all my sisters to have a high value man. I'm sorry. It's not possible. It's not possible. Oh, it's not possible. Other races, they understand. My happiness is my responsibility. I've got to build. It's like I said, I don't really respect what Lonely Love said, but I kind of go back to that thing on the reel where she said, when the emergency bell rings, before you try to save anyone in the plane, you put the gas mask on yourself. If every black person was putting their gas mask on themselves, we'd have a community. But you have black women, while you're trying to put your gas mask on, she's ripping it off. Yo, you don't want me to go in this morning. I'm done. Black people tend to respond to abuse because our people have been conditioned to take kindness and normal tone as weakness. Exactly. You're raised in a household where your mother's telling you, you ain't this, you ain't that. I birthed you, I raised you, I made you. This is what we're used to. This is how we talk to and about each other. And then if you act with a tone of voice that's normal, if you put yourself together, if you can speak with good pronunciation and standard English, you're accused of being a coon and aspiring to be white. This is another race manipulation tactic that people like Umar Johnson like to use. We're so afraid to be called quote unquote white. We can always be drawn down into degeneracy under the guise of keeping it real and keeping it black. It's like, if I had to pick between Jesse Lee Peterson and Umar, I would pick Jesse. Not because Jesse is right about everything, but because we live in a capitalistic society and victimhood mentality keeps you stuck. And Umar, Cynthia G, Chrissy, Paris, all these female content creators, all they do is peddle victimhood. You cannot build with a victim mindset. Is there systemic racism? Is there prejudice and things like this? Are black people often put in compromised situations? I do believe yes, but we also have the ability to rise above it as long as we don't buy into it. And every time you try to escape it, they're dragging you back down with complaints about colorism. Guess what? 99.9999999% of the people on this planet don't want you, or you don't want them. Go and find the 0.00000 100 recurring 01 that do want you. Whether they don't want you because you're too black, because you're too fat, because you got too many kids, because your hair is too kinky, because you're too educated, too uneducated, you chalk them all up to the 99.9 and you send them on their way. Finish. I don't understand why you're talking about black men who don't want black women or darker skinned black women when there are loads of black men fawning over chocolate sisters every single day. Go and find them. You say black men want big women and you don't want to lose the weight. Well, go and find a black man that wants a big woman. Finish. This is not even supposed to be a conversation. But when you live in a community of people who are emotionally stunted and regressing, every little emotional thing becomes a huge conversation. But it's a deflection tactic to keep black people spinning their wheels on the rubbish so they never actually talk about the stuff that's important. Whether the abuse be emotional, verbal, or psychological, by the way, the last one is just dangerous. Is as dangerous as physical. Of course, because once your mind is shaped a certain way, all these black women talking their cash rubbish about, we're the least desired because we're unattractive. You know who told you were unattractive? Your mother. When your mother was fawning over those little mixed race Kardashian babies talking about their pretty eyes and good hair, you know what was happening in your brain as a dark-skinned black woman? Well, I'm ugly because I got dark skin, brown eyes, and I got 4C hair. No one perpetuates colorism like black women. And the insecurities you have are because your mother didn't validate you when you were young and because you probably didn't have a father to give you that non-sexual attention. Okay? I don't want to hear nothing about, because this celebrity said he likes exoticals. I don't want to hear it. Didn't want to hear it, don't want to hear it. Never will want to hear it. Okay? So your abuse and your pity party stories about why you wear weave and why you're insecure. Again, black women will talk about how they feel insecure because of what they didn't get during childhood. But when a black man says the same thing, you're just whining, you're trying to make everything the black woman's fault. Guess what? All black people, if you have a black mother, come out of black women. If you're fully black, you came out of a black woman, male or female. And so if your mother didn't validate you as a child, that's going to cause you to have psychological issues, whether you're male or female. That's what it is. Ironically, you say shaming when women are calling him gay and don't love his mother. The double standard is real. The double standard is real. By the way, I can't come up. My laptop quit on me. Don't worry. It's cool. I've got enough fire for both of us. Personally, I've seen black men take advantage of women who are nice. In my experience, black men always gravitate towards the Bs. Of course, they're going to gravitate towards the Bs because that's what their mother was. Their mother was a B. Their mother was out here cussing them out, emasculating them, calling them names, doing certain, bitchy things. We are a product of our environment. We are a product of our upbringing. So if not to say in an incestuous way, we marry our parents. We go, because no matter how dysfunctional the relationship between us and our parents is, it's familiar. We gravitate towards the familiar even when it's dysfunctional. If you understand how to operate with an abusive mother or an abusive female, as much as it's dysfunctional, at least it's comfortable because you know how to navigate that relationship. Going back to what Dimitri said, people look at you as weak if you're soft, but it's not so much that they just look at you as weak. They're uncomfortable because they don't know how to react. This is why people who have been abused by narcissists become narcissists, because you're always trying to play this, three-dimensional mental chess with this person who's trying to gaslight the crap out of you every 5 seconds. Every minute of the day, you're preoccupied with trying to out-manipulate them. So when you get into a relationship with somebody who's not manipulative, you're like, how the hell do I operate? And a lot of black women with all this queen, mother goddess, ocean energy, we got to put you on a pedestal that's on a mountaintop pedestal. Black men are conditioned to operate a certain way, where even with a decent feminine woman, they can't even function properly. They're so unaccustomed to a woman, treating them nice and speaking to them with respect, they literally don't know what to do with that type of woman in some instances. Where am I? People resonate with what's familiar. And if you have a society that calls doing what women do, as this woman said, let black women be women, let women be women. The men are conditioned to believe whatever a woman does, you should just accept it. But if you had strong fathers in the home, these men would know that's not how you operate. Why? Because a son is going to identify with the same-sex parent the way a daughter identifies with the same-sex parent. And when he witnesses his father checking his mother, he understands, oh, I don't have to tolerate disrespect from a woman. But when you grow up in a household where disrespect and being, the mule for the community in that respect is normal, when you become a legal adult, you're going to gravitate towards women exactly like your mother. It's not that black men like the disrespect, but they don't know how to operate in a relationship with something other than disrespect. And black women encourage each other to operate in the same way. So it's kind of like the Truman Show. Everybody's in on the joke except for you. So when you go to school, when you watch TV, when you hang around your aunts and your sisters, they're all saying the same thing. So you can't believe that there's a world beyond the veil. It's only when Truman woke up and realized there's something not quite right here. Every single day this person passes on the bike at exactly the same time. And when he realized and he said, I don't even think the sea is real, he started running out to the sea and he got to the curtain and he realized, I've been in a show the whole time. Everybody's in on the joke except for me. What's good, Sir Obadiah? Honestly, I'm really hoping and praying that an actual mental health professional finally has enough and reads her. What certification does she hold? I mean, even if she just wants to sound intelligent and breaking down the pathology of a dusty. Why? For what? What are you doing with a dusty? And it's funny, you're breaking down the pathology, but if you go to any psychological approach, it always starts with childhood. So why is it you never talk about how these dusties came to be dusty? Because that would mean you have to hold black women accountable for their failures to their own sons. And because you can't hold black women accountable, you've got to do some Matrix style lean where you're dodging every bullet where you try to hold the women accountable. Black men don't like the good, humble girl. I see it all the time. Is she super fat? Because a lot of the women who have decent personalities, they also don't maximize their physical beauty. And it depends on the age. Okay, men have 2 periods in their life where they're more likely to want to settle down. 16, 17, 18 to maybe 21. Then they go through their sowing of the wild oats phase, which is like 21, 22 to around 27, 28. And once their testosterone starts to drop off a little bit, they feel more established within themselves. They start feeling like, I'm tired of playing the field. I want to settle down. So if you're a woman in her 20s, in the prime of her life, getting with a man in that range, you're more likely to come across men who are not physically, mentally, or financially in the position or in the place to want to settle down. And this is why I promote age gap relationships, because women and men are not the same. Your timeline is not the same as a man's timeline. You come into your prime late, just to keep it legal, we'll say 18 to 27. That's when you're physically at your most attractive, and that's when you have the most men approaching you for marriage. A man doesn't come into his prime to his late 20s, early 30s, when he's got his education out the way and his career going. So you want to match prime for prime, not age for age. If you're looking for a provider, a protector, a leader, someone with wisdom and, going places, oftentimes, especially in the black community, because we don't invest in our boys at an early age, we don't have things like inheritance, we don't pay off our children's school fee, how can I say, like, you set aside a fund so that the children don't leave college with debt and things like that. We don't buy them cars and things like that. Because this is not our culture, a black male takes longer to become established because he's literally got to build it from the ground up. Other ethnic groups, you can go and work in a family business, or even if you don't have a family business, you have professionals in your family who can give you the heads up and the leg up. You want to go into law, but you've got an uncle who done law. He just brings you his folder with the coursework. He says, just copy it, change around the words a little bit so you can get a good grade. In the black community, it's, you're a man now. You know, go and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No other ethnic group has this widespread mentality. And when you've got boys who are systematically targeted in the classroom, they're more likely to be watched by the teacher. They're not necessarily being enriched by the class. You know, mothers are not reading to their kids. The children are discouraged from school at a very early age. Then they fall behind and they end up in the streets. Some get killed, some join gangs. A lot of them are skillless. So if black women want black men to be productive, what are they actually doing to enrich the lives of their boys? Now, in other communities, the more men make money, the more they want to actually get married. But we know after a certain bracket, a certain pay grade, a lot of black men actually want to get married less because they have more options. That's true. But yeah, black women, even the women who are decent, a lot of the time they're not taught to cultivate their femininity. They're not taught to cultivate their beauty. So they've got great personalities, but they're still not giving the men the sexual component that they also need. So I'm not trying to be facetious or funny when I say, are they fat? But, you know, black men are visual. They want women that they find sexually appealing. It's not just about, is she a nice person? And if you're not used to seeing feminine women, you're probably not going to know what to do with them. A man is not going to commit to a woman he doesn't feel he can make happy or provide for. And if a lot of black men are not accomplished, even if they meet a woman that they feel they would like to marry, in a lot of instances they're still not going to propose because they understand that she deserves good, but he can't fulfill that role. So again, if black women want more men who are providers, you need to invest in your boys so that they actually can go on to be accomplished at school. Whether education is actually worth anything and the certificate is anything more than glorified toilet paper is irrelevant, because when you go for that job interview, they want to see the certificate. You can't have a certificate if you can't read. It's not the school's job to educate your child. It's your job. Sinji has a degree. However, does she have a license to practice? You can get a law degree. However, you don't have a law license. You can't practice law. She can say anything on the internet. And, you know, black women, they think it's so amazing that she's got a degree and she uses the word pathology a lot. And no one impressed by the fact that you use the word pathology and psychology a lot. Okay? I like the good, humble girl. That's all I ever go for, and I'm black. See? The other dudes that you're talking to are part of the 99.99999. Just disregard them and keep it moving. Amazing you say that, but yet you'll refuse to listen to anything we request. Your first base of tactic is to be negative and to assume that they're being negative. Oh, you hate your mother. You hate your this. You hate your that. You're misogynist. You hate black women. You're gay. I'm not listening. I'm not. Well, yo, you're looking busy. Let's see if I can open this computer. You see, trying to give me some notifications. I'm trying to. Here we go. Rosberg says, wrong. We like humble, good black girls. You'll call them pick-me's. Jesus Christ, don't get me started on that conversation. We are the only community on the planet that has women who want men and then get shamed by their own women for wanting a man. I mean, the backwardsness is beyond belief. I literally go out with my clothes on backwards, half naked, after having conversations with women talking about pick me. I'm like, bruv, if you want a man, you want to be picked, yes or no? So why are you out here talking about shaming other black women for wanting to be picked? This is why the black community can't function, because we are too backwards to go forward. Too backwards to go forwards. And I'm telling you, no one keeps a black woman single like other black women, because black women use shame, insults, guilt on anyone they want to control or manipulate to keep the status quo going. You see, this is why I like Brother Bed. You know, he always be coming with them facts. Not y'all. What's up, Khalil? Shout out to you in the building. Is it Cahill? Sorry. I agree. I agree. I feel like people try to be attracted to people who don't want them. Everyone isn't going to like you. Exactly. And a lot of the women who are on social media, like we're talking about YouTube for the most part, but you know, these social media influencers, they are always keeping you fixated on the people you shouldn't even be looking at. The people you should be looking at are also the ones you should be listening to. Like I said, I've said it twice, I say it again. I'm not interested in who Kevin Samuels is or what he does. What intrigues me is the response. Because why are you out here complaining about a man promoting marriage, telling men to step up, make six figures? Anybody who's got an issue with someone telling you make six figures, I have to look at them with the side eye. Unless you want to live off grid and farm your own land and grow your own food, guess what? You need money. Not everybody's going to make six figures. But would you rather your boys, say they're listening to Kevin Samuels, would you rather them go out into the world uneducated and go and end up working in a low paying job? Or would you prefer for them to be shooting for 100,000 a year, miss it and land on 70? I know which one I would want. So anybody pushing somebody and saying, oh, you're not a high value man because you don't make six figures, or, oh, why are you going to talk about six figures? That's an agent. That's an agent. That is an agent. Because the same black woman who's talking about six figures don't make you a high value man is running to a white man making 50K a year. I can't keep this thing on. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Not interested. Validation of attraction out of the mouths of patriarchy. You look good, have good hair. You got Indian in your family. Straight up. Hey, Complex, what's good, man? Yeah, somebody rattled my cage this morning, bro. Okay? Two things can exist once. Both sides are shaming. I didn't say one side was right or wrong. No, you didn't say one side is right or wrong, but I tell you what often happens. Black women think that they can just shame carte blanche. Like, I can literally just say anything about you and you just have to take it. But you're a bad person if you shame a woman back. And, you know, I'm not picking on you personally, so I'm going to kind of take it off you. But this is what black women do all the time. Anytime you try to say, hold your feet to the fire alone, which black women try to pretend is black people absolving men of their responsibility. Ain't no one saying that black men are perfect. What people are saying is black women have autonomy. You fought for freedom. You fought for freedom of sexuality, of choice, over your body, over your reproductive rights. You're free to do whatever you want. But with that freedom comes responsibility. And when you make certain decisions, you're not supposed to be saying, oh, it takes two of us. It takes both of us. Anytime a person says two, both, we, men and women do the same, that person is like accountability phobe. Because what they're trying to do is when a black man does the wrong thing, he should be blamed by himself. But when a black woman does the wrong thing, it's not because she's a bad person, it's because the black man made her do it. And what black men are saying is, no, you wanted all these freedoms, So you've got to stand alone in the consequences of the choices you made. For example, Cynthia G likes to talk about white supremacy, but white supremacy doesn't stop black women from getting Brazilian. It doesn't stop black women from opening businesses allegedly, or getting educated, or having kids. So obviously white supremacy doesn't have you in the stronghold that you like to make out it does. And that's the same for black men as well, who ride on that white supremacy racism bandwagon like Umar Johnson. I've said it before, we all know white supremacy exists, but it's more of a system that, if you know is there, is a trap. Just avoid the trap. Stop walking in the trap, but then thinking somehow you're going to get out of the trap. It's like your employer. Your employer's never going to pay you enough money so you can just live, work part-time and live big life. And no matter how much your employer's paying you, don't ever get it twisted. Your employer's making more money. You are, well, some people don't like to use the whole concept of the slave, but you are a slave for the employer. The employer's never going to want you to be more well off than him or her, no matter how good your paycheck is. The goal is not to make you rich. The goal is to make sure that you have enough money to come into work tomorrow so you can keep grinding for the boss. And while you're grinding for the boss, he's on a yacht somewhere with his kids and his au pair and his wife that doesn't work. Oh, I don't know which one to pick first. Should I look at the comments? Where am I? Yo, you lot be pushing this thing up fast. Wow. Sorry if I'm missing any comments, because I'll be. Where am I? I think both sides. Where am I? Where's that comment? Honestly, I'm really hoping and praying that an actual mental health professional will come through. Oh yeah, it's interesting that now these men are complaining about the same women they chose, but a lot of black men actually acknowledge that they chose the wrong women, or that they chose women based on the way they were programmed to think about things, or the women that they were told were good women. If women really cared about their sons, they would say, that chick is this, that, and the third, she's bad news, stay away from her. But they don't. This is why women arguing like, oh, why are you disrespecting single mothers? Why are you disrespecting overweight women? Why are you disrespecting women because of this, that, and the third? These are the women who groom men into dating women they shouldn't be with. The mothers are the ones who are supposed to tell their sons that chick is not right for you, stay away from her. But these are the same women feeding their sons into the gynocracy. Instead of warning their sons against women. And I know this to be a fact, because I have a friend who's a single mom, right? And we were having a conversation, and she was like, even though I have sons, I would never tell my son date a single mom, even though I am a single mom. Single moms know the truth, man, but a lot of them are not going to tell their sons the truth because they don't want to look bad, they don't want to feel bad. They know if they tell their sons not to date single moms, like, it's, how can I say it? If they tell their sons not to date single moms, they know a lot of black women are not going to get a man, because a lot of black women have kids out of wedlock. So they rather feed their son into a system that doesn't work for the son than tell the son the truth. Son, if it means you have to date out, I would rather you date out and date a woman and start your own legacy than date a woman with kids. Even though I raised you as a single mom, I would rather you date a woman with no kids. That's what black women who are single moms should tell their sons, but they don't. So when you're talking about these men are picking, that these men need to pick better, that's what the manosphere is there for, to tell these men to wake up and stop being led by your emotions and your gynocratic programming. Okay? I don't know how I get. You guys are. Black men don't like good, humble girls. I see it all the time. We passed this bit already. Oh, not all facts. Sweet, complex. Shout out to you again, Bonsberg. You've got to make that clear, because you keep saying what black men are doing. I just wonder if women like take any notes on what we request. Exactly. You know, I was talking to somebody. I was in a comment section somewhere, and people were like, "Oh, why would you even listen to this man?" And I was like, "Because we're straight. We are straight. We want men. So if you're gonna have a relationship with a man, guess what? You're gonna know what men like. Unless you want to be in a relationship with an effeminate man, you need to understand what men like. So why am I going to take advice on men from a woman who's never been a man? That doesn't make any sense. And again, that's how black women, all of this is part of the programming of keeping men in a gynocentric, feminine, emotional way of thinking, so that they can be easily manipulated with men. And what do they use? They just use the promise of sex. Where am I? Shout out to JK in the building. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Big up from West London. Big up to West London. London Massive in the house. Bronzebird, it's called balance. Most of you guys are speaking about what black women are doing wrong. I'm pointing out how black men are contributing. Oh yeah, definitely. There are a lot of black channels that talk about what black men are doing wrong. And one of the things that they're doing is allowing themselves to be led by their penis. And to believe this lie that as long as you can get females, that somehow you can, stop. That you can just, alpha your way through it. Or if you give a woman good enough sex, she'll submit and all this rubbish. It's like your masculinity can be in no way rooted or grounded in what women tell you. Your masculinity has to be rooted and grounded in what masculinity is. Masculine traits. You're trying to play games with me. Masculine traits. Bravery. Decisiveness. Stoicism. Being, hardworking, committed. All of the traits that make you masculine have nothing to do with a woman, but they will enable you to attract more women. And then obviously out of the women you attract, then you select. Okay. That's fair, but if you want to be balanced, as I have been in the past on this channel, I say that say the cause and effect, say the whole statement, evoke ethos, pathos, and logos with your speech. Facts. Who doesn't like humble girls? Demetrius getting turned upside down in here. I'm not you, Demetrius. Okay, what does that mean? Fast actions and slow learning. But Belle, that's how one needs to handle such delicate topics. By the way, is Demetrius know you? With no you. You guys are funny. So Cahill is it Khalil? Shout out to you. Sorry. It's all verbiage to sound intelligent. Yeah, I mean, again, women like to be lied to. They want to hear Cynthia G use these big words like pathology, as if to say she's saying something. But if you really cared, you'd be like, okay, so what? And then the pathology is secretly they want to be white and they want to be women. And none of these women even ask why. Even if we go with the premise that you're right, deep down these black men secretly want to be white women, you still have to ask yourself why and what are you doing to stop that from happening? And then it just turns into, oh, it's because they have a gene that makes them want to be white women. We can't help it. We have nothing to do with it. We just want that. We have nothing to do with how they want to be white women. So again, it absolves black women of their responsibility because they're saying it's nothing to do with us. It's to do with an inbuilt pathology of the black man. That's what that is. Every other race, XYZ. Shout out to you. I know that, but What Simji is doing ain't working. Yanni's ain't entirely working either. These women are not trying to make things better. They're trying to line their pockets. Shout out to you. He said, I said that right. I swear Jessie Wu was a shining example of the negative enforcement. Yeah, of course. She's got a huge platform. She's getting lighter. She was darker before. She'll talk about colorism and is clearly bleaching her face. I think both sides have an element of toxicity and track people. Belle, your job is to worry about women. Stop with this whole both sides argument. Because at the end of the day, women create the men they complain about. They validate the dope boys and the drug dealers and the low-hanging fruit. And so there's, of course, both sides are toxic. But whereas black men do hold black men accountable, black women can't take criticism from anyone. Because if Rebecca Lynn Pope got attacked, Iyanla Vanzant was run off of YouTube. Although I don't really care about what Iyanla Vanzant has said sometimes, because you're out here talking about paid by a system that pays black women to be degenerate. But wasn't your boss in The Color Purple that's done a lot more damage to the black community than a lot of other things? The OWN network is not free of criticism. Okay? Iyanla Vanzant's check was paid by Oprah, and she's done nothing much. Well, not publicly. People say she has done things for black men, but she doesn't make her work for black men as public as the work she does for black girls. So it still sends out a message that black girls are more important than black boys. Same with the manosphere people on both sides. It ends up sounding just like talking smack. Exactly. Remember. I couldn't give a damn if Yanni's here. Yanni ain't nothing to me, bro. Exactly. He meant to say matriarchy. No doubt in that people need to learn how to cope, but not everyone is hurt. There are people like me who simply agree and stumbled on the space. Exactly. This narrative that the only reason why you would say certain things is because you're a hurt, broken man is another shaming tactic in and of itself. The same usual tactic, black women projecting towards black men. In fact, a lot of the conversations and arguments that black women use against black men are projections. They're projections. Oh, you want to be white, but you've got blonde hair, straight weave, blue contact, and a bleached face. I don't know who you're out here doing role play and race play and cosplay and slave play and writing books about being a slave and a mistress to a white man. You're out here talking about how much better the white man is, but then you have the heart to tell black men that they're the ones who want to be white. Whatever you smoke, I need some. Okay? Whatever you take, give it to me. Because that is the most ridiculous. And let's not even get started on ghetto gaggers, bro. Let's not even go there. Do not. Mothers taking their daughters to get ran through by white men. And you're out here talking about, and this pathology of the dusty. I don't want to hear it. Zero. Zilch. Visa Boogie in the house. I mean, a lot of these are knockoffs, you know. Chrissy is the knockoff of Rashida Strober. Paris, Chris Logic, and all these chicks, they're Chrissy knockoffs. They love to talk about black men are not original, but these women have all taken the Chrissy Rashida Strober playbook, and they're just saying the same talking points every day, looking for a handful of instances where a black man did something that they can point to and call it colorism. This is a 20-minute video. I don't understand why we're here 2 hours late. Someone said to me, you're long-winded as hell. I can't help it. You guys chatting. What's that? Oh, I want to block this person. Yanni? Who gives a damn about Yanni, man? Yanni ain't helping nobody except herself. These chicks are only saying what they need to say to get you black women's money. So I can't feel sorry for you because you're being told they're fleecing you. You're being told they're manipulating you. And you want to be manipulated. So I can't feel sorry for you. All truth with no pandering. Trying my best. Oh, here we go. Look. Bronzebird, you've been attacking me for my opinion since I came in here. I don't think I said anything bad about black men. I didn't say they were terrible, XYZ. So what did I say that was wrong? Madam, ma'am, miss, we are not attacking you. We're attacking your idea and your talking point, and more importantly, the frame of mind that has you having this talking point in the first place. When a black woman says we need to talk about both sides, you are basically trying to absolve grown adult women of being accountable for their personal choices. You may not think that's what you're doing, but that's what it is. Because what you're saying is, I did what I did because a black man did what he did, which means you don't have autonomy, which means maybe you don't need rights. Because if you cannot be accountable for your actions, then you don't need the ability to make decisions. Either you take the consequence with the decision, or you have no decision and you go to a country where you have no rights. It's not, I have rights, but I have no responsibility. I make decisions, but I'm not accountable for the outcomes. It's either both or neither. And what black women like to always do is say, the reason why I did what I did is because a black man made me do it because we're both messed up. Or let's just sweep everything under the rug and start again. And let's just pretend like you didn't see all the mess I created. And black men are saying, no, we're not gonna sweep it under the rug, because once we forget about all the stuff that went on in the past, it's only a matter of time before it surfaces again. This cultural mindset that black women have is like weeds in a garden. Until you kill the root, no matter how pretty that garden looks, it's only a matter of time before that weed springs up again. So we're not trying to deal with no victimization. I don't think I said anything bad. That's why he's calling you out, saying that you're trying to play the victimization game like you're somehow being persecuted. We are challenging ideas. We're not attacking you personally. No, not here. If I saw her, I'd tell her to go up on the StreamYard. But no, it was in Sinji's comment section. See, Khalil, I've got no dog in this fight, you see, so I can just keep it 100. Yeah, being led by your crutch is a stupid move. And the guys who are like, oh, I get females, I get bitches and hoes, and let me talk about yada yada, they are also part of the problem. They feed men into the system by telling them that, you know, your validation comes from how many women you can knock down. And that also puts you in a compromised position, because you're doing stupid things to get the validation of women who don't even need your time and attention. There are women that men should be not having anything to do with, just like there are women that I'm confused. There are men that women shouldn't be talking to or about, just like there are women men shouldn't be talking about. Wait, I'm confused. But you know what I mean already. I'm trying to concentrate and I can't. Okay, I'm trying to read some comments, I'm trying to narrate, and I'm trying to play. Right now, play is important. So, yeah. These people shouldn't be on your radar. Okay? They just shouldn't be, because they're not going to bring you anything other than stress and headache. They're not adding to your life. They're just detracting from it. So there's no point to keep on talking about dusties and this and that. You should be focusing on becoming the kind of man or woman that you need to be to attract the kind of person that you want, period. No matter what happens around you, me, or whoever, we live with the consequences of our choices. Even if other people suffer with us, ultimately we suffer on our own. So this whole collective argument, it just needs to be dumped. Cortez says, men who think they can F a woman into submission are pathetic, clueless, and actually submissive themselves. Exactly. Their validation comes from women. You found me out. Yanni, is that you? I heard some loons say that black men want white women because they want what comes from white men's penis. However, they talk expanding, so do they want what comes from a white woman's parts? Exactly. The double standard is ridiculous. Black women can take criticism. Black women can take criticism. You're a black woman, I'm a black woman. I think you meant to say can't take criticism, because if they could take criticism, you wouldn't see black women starting entire YouTube channels just to critique Kevin Samuels. Slave play and race play. Yep, we don't even want to go there. One of those porn sites has an actual Nazi working for them, probably. The dude actually got arrested for attempting terrorism. Oh wow. Some weirdos out here, and he making all that money so he can fund his terrorism. You see, black women will see a handsome black man and say he probably don't date black women. He like white or Asian women, or if he's too attractive, he must be gay. Why is this thing going so fast? I'm telling you, they'll find any excuse and a woman who sees an attractive black man and says he probably doesn't like black women. That's because she's insecure. She feels like she's not good enough to attract that man. I said nothing like that. I said men choose these women they complain about, and now all black women are being lumped into the argument. The problem is this: black women defend the system. They defend the system. Even if they're, like, for example, you got women who are morbidly obese, right? And even women who are in shape and work out every day will tell black men to date women who are overweight. And it's like, why? Oh, because we're all black women and you should see us the same. But that doesn't make any sense. That's like saying that a person who's got a degree should be seen as the same as a person with a GED. It doesn't work like that. The person who's put in the work to be more established should get more out of their options because they've put in the work. That's a merit-based system. And black women don't want a merit-based system. They want a system where everybody is equal, and they want a they don't want a merit-based system, because that would mean women have to work and compete. And part of the problem is they don't feel like black men are even worth competing for. Okay? No, Bronzebird definitely has been calling me out for providing a different approach to the conversation. To be honest with you, you're bringing the talking points that we hear all the time. You think that you're countering it by saying we need to, shout out to Naima Butler in the building. You think you're bringing a different perspective because you're saying, women and men do the same things. But it's like there's a hive mind amongst black women that helps to keep black women single. They co-sign things that they shouldn't even be co-signing. They're not calling out things they should be calling out, because ultimately benefits them. It's like, I'm scratching your back today. I need you to scratch my back tomorrow. Okay, today you're doing the wrong thing. Tomorrow I might be doing the wrong thing. So you see how I went for back to back for you today? I need you to come to bat for me tomorrow. That's what black women do. They support each other in their mess, so that they can always feel like we have a sisterhood. That's why it's called the sisterhood of failure, because these women want to be protected by each other as long as it's in failure. Okay? So you think you're bringing a different approach, but you're saying the same thing. That's keeping a lot of black women single. Because if you're not actively working against something, then ultimately you're going to end up going towards it, especially because we live in a culture that promotes negativity so heavily. If you live in this culture where you've got actors and actresses and entertainers who spend all day grinding, we are the only group of people on this planet that has such sexually explicit music. We are programmed to validate ourselves and everybody else by whether we can sleep with them, or how sexual we look, or how sexual we can be. Other groups do not have this situation. That's why they're able to thrive. You see, so Bronzebird says, I like Miss Belle Butterfly. She's consistent with the victimhood, especially when we all see the projections being made when I challenge her talking points. And that's what it is. It's not a personal attack. This is a general problem that we have in the black community, where black women have this hive mind, but only when it comes onto negativity. This is why they're like, oh, why can't a woman twerk in public? You don't want black women to express their sexuality. Oh, why can't a black woman, have multiple kids by multiple men? Oh, why can't a black woman be big? Why can't and these, even the women who are not in that situation, try to defend this negative behavior that creates a lot of the problems. Belle, be wary of the space you are in. This subset of YouTube focuses on the relationships between black men and black women. When you hear excuses daily, it comes off as disingenuous. And that's the thing. A lot of people here, we've heard these conversations for so long that it's kind of like, are you really new to the conversation, or are you just trying to derail the conversation with deflection? And I'm not saying that's you personally, but that's true. That's how it comes across. Also, our battle is going against hoteps and male feminists, those dudes stuck in sisterhood wormhole. Definitely, they're just as guilty, because they are the ones that enable these women, paying them compliments, giving them money. They validate their argument. Demetrius, I frequent different channels. I like to see different vantage points. But are you taking it in, or are you listening to respond? So we've got kitchen and cocktails. It was a nightmare, right? So let's get back to this hot mess of a grown woman talking cash rubbish, because I know she's about 40, 38, 50, something like this, but she out here running her mouth talking the same rubbish that you expect from a 15-year-old. And I can't believe that this video is only 19 minutes and 44 seconds. I am 8 minutes in, not even 9 minutes, and I still can't get to the damn end.
Okay? Your hair is not combed, you like lotion. What the fuck is that? Them raspy ass voices, them black ass lips. Like I'm like, what's happening here?
What happened is her mother didn't teach her how to groom herself, and now as an adult woman, she doesn't know how to groom herself. It's hard work to groom yourself when you're not raised to groom yourself. That's the end of the conversation. But I'm sure she's going to say somehow it's a black man's fault.
Men in the street, you want to be a roughneck. That was like a 90s thing, when it came out with if Select came out with the roughneck. Like that was back then. Now women, black women are moving more towards being elegant. We're moving more towards being more sophisticated, more refined, feminine, more soft. Not to be confused with allowing people to step over us, right?
I swear somebody was laughing in the background, like, what the hell are you talking about? Refined.
She was thirsty, But I just need my ladies. I need for my ladies to find their
You can't save everyone.
You know what I mean?
Some of them don't want to be saved. They don't even think there's something to be saved from.
Their place too.
So you got to move on from those people.
When I got off the plane a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, she's talking about some incident on the plane where some hood boogers were smoking weed on the back of the plane.
This girl pulled up and she was like, real pretty girl in a hood car. What was it? The Chevrolet. What is that car called? Y'all know the one.
Jalopy.
Everybody got one. But anyway, she pulled up. She
probably a Toyota Prius.
Talking loud. I mean, I was like, oh my God, right? I mean, the prettiest thing, but the shittiest. I mean, everything about her was a thumbs down outside of her appearance.
So if you can see that, what makes you think black men can't feel that and see that? But she would want a black man to marry that, despite the fact that she has nothing going for her but her looks.
That's exactly what it was. Your everyday hood car. So I get on the plane and I'm suspicious about what's going to happen because, again, I'm smelling lots of bath and body, seeing lots of, lots of big weaves and lots of dreads and baggy, pants off the ass. I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be an interesting trip. All I ask is that you put me in the front of the plane because I need to be able to exit as soon as possible. So as soon as we land in LA, in California, they decide to start smoking weed in the I didn't even bother to turn around because I was trying to go into myself and disappear.
So you see, now she's trying to perpetuate this idea that she's scared of the black man and the black man is scary. And it's funny, you see the guy wearing the bag downs and looking like he's hood. You have a problem with the way he's dressed. You immediately judge the guy because of the way they were dressed. But as soon as a man judges you because you dress like a hoe with these long ass eyelashes and weave down to your backside, and you open your mouth talking cash rubbish, you're like, why are you judging me? Again, the double standard. This woman is like 50, man. What are you talking about? She's too old to be talking this cash rubbish. Old, ancient, washed, finished, gone, done, wall. I'm joking. She's not. She looks good, but you can see she's not spring chicken. Yeah? Let's see what you look like stripped. Okay? But these women are out here talking, and you're too old to be talking like this. I don't care. You're too old to be talking like this. That's the problem. Demetrius, many BLM protests hearing black women saying, hey, get it, while twerking. You see, look at that thing with them twerk on Capitol Hill. And you'll have black women saying that what's wrong with that? That's an expression of black dance. Why can't we dance twerking in public and other cultures do belly dancing? That's what I've heard grown black women who are grandparents saying. Other cultures do belly dancing, so why can't we twerk in public? You're trying to infringe on our sexuality and our expression. To be authentically black, you have to do it for the culture. Bronze by being into it. No, I ain't ask her age for attractiveness. It's about mentality. These older women are the ones grooming these younger girls, pimping them out and everything.
Myself from the situation. So they're in the back of the plane smoking who knows what, which way. But that was just the start of the finale. The finale began when one of them turned on the radio or their boombox on 10,000.
So now she's using like one incident to basically categorize all black men, which is a very common tactic.
The whole back of the plane was rocking, and so they can all sing their song about sucking, eating.
Oh, but when they're talking about wet ass P word, you don't have a problem with that though. When we're talking about WAP, you don't have a problem with that. That's empowerment. When Megan and Cardi are grinding on the stage on each other, you don't have a problem with that. You don't think that's classless or uncouth. You think that's perfectly fine and it's expression of female sexuality that shouldn't be judged. This is the hypocrisy that black men are tired of, man.
Your everyday hood shit.
Yeah, when you're in the hood, you experience hood stuff. When you get out of the hood, you're not supposed to experience hood stuff. You don't want to experience hood stuff, get out of the hood.
When we are on the plane, I was waiting for the police.
No one gives a damn what you was waiting for.
Women don't know how to be women. Men don't. Like, where the fuck are we going? Like,
okay, and they would know if they had stable, intact families that they came from. That's the ignorant side. Please elaborate. You talk about the ignorant side of the community, but that's who these female content creators focus on. They love talking about the broke dusty. For what? You shouldn't even see them. Hood boogers and all these hoes and reckless, useless chicks. You shouldn't even see them. They shouldn't even be a blip on your radar. That's why these women who are always complaining, they're complaining about the men they like. They're complaining about the men they're sexually attracted to and sleeping with. Okay? That's who they're talking about. It's just like when they try to verify their reasons for wearing blonde weave, they pull out any alibi they can find, such as bring up Solomon Islanders in order to support the argument. Exactly. Most people don't even know that there are naturally blonde black people or black people with natural blue eyes, but they'll try to clutch at any straw to just justify as women wanting to look more white. which is ironic because they then project that the reason why black men date white women is because they secretly want to be close to white power, which doesn't make sense, because if a woman gets with a man, she normally acquiesces to his thing. For example, ain't no black man really inheriting anything from a white woman. Wealth is with the man. The woman is following the man. So that doesn't even make sense that he dates a white woman to be close to white power. Ain't no white man saying to a black man, oh, I like you because you got a white wife. Not really. Not really. This pro-sex empowerment that they're supporting is horrible as society. Ooh. Wait, 1 second. This dude's face needs to hold a couple of rockets. Oh. Oh. As a society, we're going to really regret this in the future, men and women alike. And that's why we're calling it out, because these women, they support the very things that they claim to not want. But they're disingenuous because they know deep down they perpetuate the problems that they complain about, man. If they did, they would do more to support black boys. Okay? Where are we? Sex is used as a weapon against black people. That's why the music and our entertainment is heavily sexualized, to keep us on that rabbit, that hamster wheel. Because obviously with sex comes emotional damage, with sex comes, unplanned pregnancy, maybe disease, child support, which knocks a lot of black men out of the system. So sex is promoted and used as a weapon against black people in order to keep them in a lower base state. Okay?
It's so plain like I texted someone and I said, this is what's happening on the plane. They literally said this. It's so plain. You know what I mean? Yeah, they were using something on the plane. I don't know. Like I said, it smelled like weed to me. It was
no one cares.
So maybe they was celebrating. Just complain about the decisions that we make. You say we only date thugs. You say we do all these things. You say our hair and our nails and our whatever else is getting in the way of society, right? But then when we say, okay, can you please step up and handle it? Can you lead us and show us?
Okay, this is the bit that got me irritated, right?
You say, no, you do it.
I know black man said when you say lead, no, you do it. That's just a lie. No black man says when you say lead, no, you do it. What they say is lead, and they're like, why don't you follow? Are you going to follow if I lead? And it's like, why the hell are you asking somebody that you have to ask to lead to lead? Why don't you just go and find somebody who's leading and submit to the leadership? You see how they think that she thinks she's being slick. But when you think about it, what you're asking doesn't make any sense. And who are you asking? Are you dating the entire community? Or are you just looking for one man? You don't have a struggle, so don't hold your face.
I shared his post. He literally was talking to men. The men started to address the women. Not one of them said, you know what, fellas, let's get together, let's come together and handle this. It's funny that Kevin Samuels is so popular because there's a man on social media that I have found to be quite interesting when I find his posts.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Jason Black, because Jason Black does go in on black men. So, but it's funny, she found his comment or his post so profound, but she didn't keep it so that she could bring it up.
Towards men and young boys. He ain't popular. You know why Kevin Samuels is popular? Let me tell you why. Because Kevin Samuels, definitely the blame game, but that's very childish. That's what I'm saying. If you get a motherfucking F in school, you don't get to say, well, he got an F. Well, he didn't do his homework. No, you have to say, okay, well, what the fuck did I do? And I'm just wondering, when is that going to happen, right?
Okay, so when the women call into the show about why they haven't got a high value man, are they saying it's because of the choices I made in the past? Or do they, well, at least in the past, do they come up to argue why he's wrong and they're right? So you see how she just talks out of both sides of her mouth when it comes on to basically trying to make women feel like everything is a man's fault, which is the common tactic.
Not well, I will when she does. Well, if women are so irresponsible and they're incapable of doing these things, then I need for these men to step up, and it's really aggravating. It's scary. It's scary, and I'm telling you, in real life, I don't know these dudes. I don't know them. That's it.
So if you don't know them, why are you talking about them so much?
All of them. We ain't talking about none of this shit. You know what we're talking about? Money.
So then the thing is this is what makes me laugh then. If you have so many high value men around you, why let me not go too far, because I came across this video. She looks like she's got some money and she's got some clout. I don't know who she is, but she looks like she's got a little following going on, right? So I'm like, if you've got those men around you, I hope you make content talking to and about these men. You can only go towards what you focus on. If you're focused on dusties all day, guess what? That's what you're going to attract. That's what you're going to attract, because that's what you're fixated on. And when you have these channels like Cynthia G always talking about the broke dusty, she's basically helping black women to constantly be focused on broke dusty men. So it doesn't make sense to say that you want women to be with high value men, but you're leading us in a conversation about broke dusties. You must be playing Borderland. That game can be hard. Nah, I'm not going to tell you which game I'm playing. I wanted to stream it live, but I need to figure out how to get this 4K splitter to go down to 2K, man, because my TV's too old. No, not Dead Island. I played that twice. I enjoyed the game so much, and I felt like such a loss when it finished. I literally started the game again and played it like 2 times in a row, so I can't play it a third time. No. Ask these anti-black men bashers if they hate us so much. Why don't they find men of other nations and just leave us alone? Watch their deflections come out. Who said we hate black men? Oh, we march for you. We buy weed for you. We get Brazilian butt lifts for you. We did this for you. It's like, you're literally giving us everything we don't want. And the few things we do want, you refuse to give us. That's what men are actually saying. It's Bronze Dimitri says, simple because they can't bring themselves to do it, and that's okay. Just focus on producing black men. That level of hate can't be healthy. Exactly. Just move on, guys. Dusty's like a certain look to be mindful. Yeah. If you're looking like a certain type of snack, aren't they talking about divesting? Yeah, they can talk about divesting all they want. I mean, they've had access to white men since slavery. You know, white men had whole white families. Okay? They had whole white families. A white wife and a black wife with black mixed kids. And black men, once they were able to date white women, have always been able to date out a 2 to 3 the rate of black women, because white men of other races don't mind sleeping with black women because they're sexy, but they ain't trying to wife them. Okay? They're not trying to wife black women en masse. Even if every black woman who said she wants to divest really divested, like, I'm out, deuces, there aren't enough non-black men to take these women on. They will sleep with you, they will date you, but they're not going to marry you. That's why these black women are angry, because the men they want, they can't get, whether that's in the black community or otherwise. Okay? So they can talk about divesting and expand your options, but that's like saying I'm on a chessboard with one freaking square. Where are you going to move? You need another square to move to, and you have one square and you're standing on it. So either you get yourself together, because the men of other races, they don't tolerate obese women and baby mamas like the way black men do. Okay, they don't. They don't. That's why summer, winter, fall, wind, rain, tsunami, you'll see these white and Asian women out there jogging and doing all kind of things. Okay? And the black woman is like, why I gotta do all that? So you can talk about wanting to divest till your back drops off. You can't go anywhere if no one wants to buy what you're selling. Okay? Let me keep it 110% with you. You cannot go anywhere if no one is willing to buy what you're selling. This thing's too hard, man. So you can go, divest. It would be better if all the black women who hate black men and really don't want to work with black men just left the black community. Everybody who doesn't want to just build something should just leave. Stop with the fake commitment to the community. Stop with the fake love and care and concern, and we battle for you and we fight for you, and you're literally giving black men things that they just don't want, because you're not doing anybody a favor. What the reality of the situation is this: you can't leave the community. There's nobody en masse trying to marry all the black women who want to leave. And that's not me trying to be nasty. That just is what it is. most people date each other to the rate of 80%. And if you're talking about white man, as in Caucasian men, I mean, until I kind of got a bit older, I didn't know that there was something called interracial dating between really black people and white people, because it was white men with Asian women. When you said interracial dating, the only thing that came to my mind was white men with Asian women. Okay? So, yeah, you can want to talk about divesting until the cows come home. But if white men are not picking black women at a tune that's actually going to get them somewhere, it doesn't even matter how much they talk about divesting. You actually have to have men that want you like that for you to be able to divest. So you can talk. But it would be better for the black community if you went. Because at the end of the day, sticking around pretending like you give a damn when you don't, and the work that needs to be done and the conversations that need to be had, you're not even having them in good faith, is not helping anybody, including you. So it's better you just go. If you can get a good white man that you can respect, just go. If you can get a good white woman that you can respect, just leave. No one is going to miss you. There has always been people who date, just have a preference for people of other races. That's not, the black race is not going to die out if a handful of black folk decide to jump the fence. You go be happy, we'll all be happy. So no one is threatened by your threat to leave and get you a white man. Because to me, when a black woman says, I'm going to get me a white man, I'm like, finally, you reunited your body with your mind. Because your mind was on that white man from day. You respect him, you value him, you want him. So go and get him and unite your body with your mind. Okay? No one's going to miss you. Nobody cares. Okay? Sounds harsh, but that's the reality. Go and pursue your own happiness. Get you a white man and go be happy. Finish. But all this, I'm staying in the community because I'm Ungawa Black Power. Ain't no one buying that rubbish. Because your actions don't support your words. Your actions are not supporting your words, so there's no point for you to even say them. Just say deep down, I hate black men, I don't like them, I don't want to be with them, and I'm out. You do better. Okay? I want to look at the comments, but I can't. They do things that to be in competition with themselves and say it's for us. Exactly. They want to be the fiercest and the baddest bee in the building, you know, but they're not trying. If black men are saying, we rather see your hair, let's take the texture off the table, whether it's relaxed, pressed, or completely untreated. The men are saying we want women, and when we pull their hair and we're having a good time in the bed, her wig's not coming off in my hand. It doesn't matter what kind of hair you got. He's saying I want it to be yours. The women are saying no, we put weave for you. That don't make no sense. Get off me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Steve's gonna bounce now because he's like, oh, this level's too hard, I'm out. Whatever. Also, because they claim to care about the young black girls, they don't really care about men. Exactly. You can't be giving birth to 50% males and then be like I told you that guy's gonna left because that's what he did to me last time. You can't say you care about the black community, but then the only children you invest in are black girls. That don't make a sense. Divestors are D-riders of SYSBM and passport bros. Yeah, they're the comparison. But again, I don't really mind if black men talk about divesting because that's the only language that black women understand. Okay, I said this to a black woman once. I said, what do you want them to do to make you submit? Oh, I like the way, because again, you know, she assumes I'm male. Oh, I like the way you're talking about violence. I was like, that's the only language you understand, though. So if you can't be reasoned with and you won't cooperate by choice, then obviously the only option the black man has is to leave. It's not about making you submit. I need a man that can control me. I need a man that can handle me. Then what you're asking for is for him to slap you upside your head or something. If you're having a conversation with a grown-ass black woman who's probably had kids and she can't understand basic things like the father of the child is the person you chose, I mean, that person only understands like diagrams with a whiteboard and like ass whoopings. Come on, man, stop. And you go, oh, I like the way you go to violence, because you can't be reasoned with. If you could be reasoned with, I wouldn't have to talk about beating your ass. And most black men are not hitting black women. The only thing they have as an option to actually bring black women back to the table is to leave the community. To leave and get women of other races. That's the only option black men really have. Okay? So they have black girl magic, but they don't support black boy magic. Even black women who don't have daughters don't have an issue supporting initiatives that build up black girls. And they masculinize these black females. They enrich them and invest in them and everything. And then in the end, they wonder why the black girls are doing better than the black boys. It's like, because somebody call Scooby-Doo? Because this is such a mystery. It's like, it's not really a mystery. You don't teach your sons to read. You don't teach them to read. You don't teach them to count. You don't invest in their education. And that's why they're not performing. It's not a mystery. It's deliberate sabotage. And black women don't want to admit that they sabotage their own men. Okay. Enjoy the trip to Dubai. Who's going to get duded on in Dubai? doing lewd things with camels, I hear. They can't just sleep with you if you don't automatically jump in the sack with them. Exactly. You know, you can't say he got me pregnant, because unless that's a crime, you know, you voluntarily went there. Okay? So a man can't get you pregnant unless you allow him. And even if you don't allow, anyway, let me not go down that road. Let me just leave that part of the conversation alone. But unless he's locking you in the basement, yeah. Yeah, white and Asian women will make sure they will keep their body in shape. I also see black women do it in small numbers and usually when they're older. Yeah, because black people are not raised to actually to have a good relationship with food. We literally do everything with food. Somebody's born, we eat. Somebody dies, we eat. Someone gets married, we eat. Someone buys a house, we eat. We're sad, we eat. We're happy, we eat. We just, and it's not even like we have, we eat good food or we have good portion control. It's literally everything sweet and tasty and flavor over nutrition. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Men of other races will date and marry black women. However, the divestic movement comes off as desperate, just as the S.I.G.N movement. Yeah, but to be honest with you, I'd rather support S.I.G.N because that's the only thing black men have. Because a lot of black women don't want black men, but they don't want black men to leave either. And that's not fair. You know, if you don't want them, let someone else have them. Because ain't no one holding the black woman's foot back. No one's chaining you to black men. The reality that a lot of black women don't want to face is they can't go anywhere else. Because no matter how much they talk about we're divesting, no one's buying black women en masse like that. Period. Point blank. Where is this guy? Oh. Yo, get away from me. Silence. Oops. Oh! What did you just do? Okay. I saw obese black women with a sweater suit on with the top cut off, showing her navel, trying to be cute in the hood. Stop. Yeah, like literally the super fupa on full display, as if people want to see that. If you're shapely, you can still look nice. You can still give the illusion of an hourglass, and you can get shapewear. And I get it. Some women, they struggle with weight, and they have real medical conditions that are an issue. But in a lot of instances, that's not the case. It's we're raised to have a poor relationship with food, and the habits that we're raised with, that's what they carry on with into adulthood. You know? Do I have a man? Possibly. I agree. Just stay out. Just go. Go. Be gone. I'm joking. Are you about your people? I'm more about than I'm against. I'm not out here talking Kaz rubbish every. Can I get on your stream? You can click the link. That's why it was there. Oh, sorry. It's the thing where I didn't paste it to the top. We've got about 15 minutes. And we still haven't got to the end of the video. We talked about this in the past stream before. Well, I missed what you guys said. I'm sure I will be enlightened. Yeah, just go back and watch the videos. Yeah. Sorry, I meant to put it at the top of the stream so anybody who wanted to click the link could just come up. But I've only got about 15 minutes. True, you're not forced to do anything unless you're locked in a basement and you don't hear it puts the lotion on its skin. You have a choice in this thing. Again, it's like this whole, I have no autonomy, although I want freedom of choice. Oh, wait, in my own comment. I'll probably hit the link in a bit. We've got 15 minutes because I've got to run. Okay, and we still haven't got to Cynthia G. Umar, but you know how I feel about them already.
We're up on a hill in Beverly Hills. When we had a conversation at dinner, no one talked about Kevin Samuels. No one talked about men versus women. Half of them was married anyway. So they're in situations with women who they're building with. Someone came on my page yesterday and said, "Oh, we can do this if you what? I don't want you. Don't need you. Not interested in you. Build you what? What the fuck I look like? Noah? I'm not building nothing. You understand me? I am 48 years old. The fuck I look like building anything.
Oh, so you gave her age.
I'm not building nothing at my age. And with the level of business that
48,
I have
48.
Ain't shit out there in these streets that I'm going to pick up and bring home like a string. Nothing. I'm not picking you up. I'm not carrying you. I'm not building. I'm not adding batteries. I'm doing whatever you want.
Okay, so this is the other rhetoric that you hear a lot of these women in that sector, spitting out. Oh, we're the mules of the community. We save the community. We carry the community on our back. No, you're living in the repercussions of your actions. That's not carrying the community. It's living in the mess you created. Two totally different things. Because no one is asking you to save black men. They're asking you to stop creating broken men in the first place. It's such ridiculous.
I don't know why you even thought that was something appealing to say to me. Because it's not. It's actually a real turn on. It's disgusting. You think because you said, "Oh, you want to be a millionaire?" Well, guess what? I already know multimillionaires. For all you know, I'm dating one. So what the fuck I look like talking to you? Because if I'm going to be with a man, he's going to add value to me.
Okay, what do you look like talking about them as well? No one asked you to talk about them.
I understand what my femininity is. You get what I'm saying? He gonna come over to the gas bar, right? He gonna slide up in the penthouse. He gonna get his head rubbed, both of them. He gonna get fed if he's hungry. He gonna get whatever he asks for and whatever he needs. And I guarantee you one thing that he's not gonna need is me to help him become a man. He's gonna already come into the fold that way. The same way, it's not that who teaches women how to be women? Who teaches women how to be women? If you need help being taught how to be a man, who the fuck teaches women how to be women?
What kind of question is this that a 48 or 50-year-old woman is asking?
You don't have that type of thing around you. For instance, no one taught me how to do this, but nothing was right. I learned. I got my ass on the internet and I learned. Right? I taught myself. You motherfuckers gonna have to do some research. You're gonna have to invest in something outside of weed. You understand? No woman wants to step in and fix everything that's fucking broken. One problem you have is instead of you pausing when you're with one woman, you go from one woman to the next woman. Instead of you going to another woman, go to a therapist. Go get that shit fixed somewhere else. Take some time out to get to know you. Breathe a little. Breathe a little. That's what needs to happen. Because, see, I heard Dr. Umar, I y'all laugh because that dude is smart. He's a nutcase at times, but he has some brilliant ways about it. Dr. Umar said something very interesting today. And he's
Okay, so yeah, I had to step out for a second. So I didn't even catch the end. I know it should be on some rubbish. Oh, Kevin gonna give me a copyright strike. I'm joking.
look like building anything other than my money.
So she wants to build nothing but her money.
With the level of business that I have going on, ain't shit out there in these streets that I'm going to pick up and bring home like a string. Nothing. I'm not picking you up. I'm not carrying you. I'm not building. I'm not adding batteries. I'm doing everything going on. But your mom and your children, you still got shit to do. I don't know why you even thought that was something appealing to say to me. Okay? Because it's not. It's actually a real turn on. It's disgusting. You think because you said, "Oh, you want to be a millionaire?" Well, guess what? I already know multimillionaires. For all you know, I'm dating one. So what the fuck I look like talking to you? Because if I'm going to be with a man, he's going to add value to me. And that'll be very easy to do.
Okay, so you see, he's gonna add value to her. So she's the man and he's the woman. She's the leader, but she under the guise of she's gonna submit to him. She's not trying to submit to him. She wants She wants a man that will follow her lead and basically be that rich beta that will follow her lead. What's good, wise Nubian? Welcome
Greetings.
to.
How are you?
How are you? I'm
Well,
good. I'm good.
first of all, I want to say thank you for being able to verbally speak out how you feel as a woman and be able to tell the truth about what's really going on because very few women, especially in America, will even opt to tell the truth because of the brainwashing that goes on in this country. And so to hear you speak diligently about what you feel and what you see and honest about it, I commend you. You are actually in my opinion, what do you call them? People who explore and go into areas they never went in before and be
I
the
like
first to do
pioneers or something.
it. Yes, you are
You know what? We're in a
pioneer.
long line. There's a lot of black women out here who actually are fighting the good fight. Okay, there's a lot of of black women out here who are who are talking about these issues. It's just a lot of them are not really in the manosphere or they're not connected to the manosphere. But
Well, they need to do that because just saying they out here, it's like me saying there's a lot of men of color out here really trying to help women and work with women and men. And we go back and forth with there's a lot, but in the end, you're not seeing them. I've been out here for 15 years, and I don't know if you ever heard of me or not, but I've been promoting this for a very long time, and they just caught on. They just
mm,
caught on. Now everybody and their mama talking about it. What Kevin so-called Sanders did, but I was doing it on a realistic level. On
mm,
all these so-called names, I can't go through all of them because it's not really relevant. But what I can say is, a lot of us have solutions. We need to start getting on here and make solutions by talking to more people. We need to have times where we interview real people who doing real things. I'm a single
mm,
father with 3 children, taking care of my children and practicing and preaching everything I'm about. I'm about culture. I'm about heterosexual single life,
mm,
getting back with the family again. I'm about righteously looking at us for who we are, not what some other race tell us we are. So these are the things that I want to see promoted among our people. I don't promote fake awareness to people of color. I'm not going to support someone simulating a Caucasian culture. I'm not going to support a person want to dab into Western culture. I'm not going to support someone trying to identify with a culture that don't belong to us. Our people have to
mm.
learn and love who we are. We have to focus on how to better ourselves, and we have to focus on getting our culture back, getting our women back to being on our side, getting our young men to learn how to respect and honor themselves and their women because it coincides together. Am I talking too much?
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I get overboard with some of them. I've been trying to come on. My way of coming back is trying to get on every show where young people are talking about we want to bring a fairness back. We have to dilute the fakeness and so into reality what fairness is. We have to get our minds back.
It's true.
Okay, we have to, in order to get your mind back, you cannot assimilate another culture to take you at your highest peak. Wearing a European tie and coat and all that stuff does not make you high value. Making all the money with his face on it does not make you high value.
Mm,
Simulating a culture that does not belong to you does not make you high value. What makes you high value is, first of all, loving your skin complexion, loving yourself, loving your history, learning your foundation, and being proud of the various language, culture, and history that comes from the continent that is yours, waiting to get.
mm.
Then
It's true.
learning
You
how.
have to love yourself before you can love. You can be loved. You can't really receive love until you love who you are. And a lot of the problems in the black community is we're not enriching ourselves in the right ways so that
I
we
share.
can love and be loved.
That's my point. That's what I want to
Mm,
encourage. And I would like you to, as a content creator, to encourage, have more setups where women of color from all over the world could come on and talk on your screen and talk about the very thing that we're talking about now, and prove that they want to love us like I want to love them. I'm speaking for
mhm.
myself because I'll be very clear. I'm raising two
You're
daughters right
welcome,
now
because
and
the
a
channel was
son.
created for women. The channel was created more to give red pill ideology and talking points and an understanding to women. But when you're
That's
not a certain
beautiful.
type, when you're not a soft, or when you're not necessarily, or when you say certain things, you get pushback. And
Oh
so,
yes,
yeah,
trust me, I
it's
know.
not even I'm afraid of the pushback, is that they don't support because they don't want to have the discussion. And what often happens with channels like this, people think that you're just a pick me pandering to black men. But what happens is the black women drop off and the black
I
men are the
share.
only ones that stick around. And so over time, you find you get a higher percentage of females on your channel because they don't want to have these difficult conversations.
Lady K, let me say something to you, sister. I've been kicked off YouTube more than 100 times, and I continue to come back and start over again because everything that now they talking about after 10 years, 15 years of talking about, now they finally talking about it. And I'm gonna tell you something, sister. They will not even dive into the deepness of what's really going on. Okay, you hear people talking about how to get a wife and how to up class and all that, but let's talk about how many abortions have our people given to each other, murdered off more than being attacked by police or killing each other on a physical
Exactly.
level.
It's
Okay, let's
true.
talk about all the insides of the dead body still within the womb of this person because they didn't clean it out right. See, I go deep, and
Deep. Yeah,
start
it's
scaring
true.
people.
It's
All right,
true.
then let's talk about the diseases and the infections and the incompetence that's taking place because we have turned binding and cohabitating when it comes to courting and having wives and husbands into a perverted thing. And now we have damaged ourselves so bad that we
So
have to really.
completely, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. The powers that be, they want to make sex a weapon against black people. They use sex as a weapon to actually,
Exactly.
to make black people derail themselves. But the thing is, white
Exactly.
supremacy obviously sets the trap, but we are the ones who choose to walk into it. So it's like, do I deny white supremacy exists? No, I would never. But at the end of the day, we are the ones that choose to participate in it because we are not in slavery. We have rights, we have power, but we are so brainwashed and so conditioned to accept dysfunction that even when it's clearly not working, we continue to still engage in the dysfunctional behavior. I'm going to let you have the last word. We've got 5 more minutes. Um, and if anyone wants to hit the link, just say something quickly and jump off, or we're going to end the show. So I'll leave it to you to close. That's my final word.
Thank you, Lady A. Lady A, thank you very much. Okay, let me say this, sister. I think that if we recruit, each of us try to recruit at least 10 people to come on to talk and make blueprints on what we can do to change. And you're absolutely right. Supremacy of the Caucasian race, I call them skin monkeys. Ain't nothing racist about it. I just call them what they look like. You shave off a monkey skin, get a hair, it's skin like theirs. My point is,
I'm just going to
if
say the
you
views
want to.
of Wise Nubian did not reflect the views of this channel. But
Okay, thank
we have
you. Yeah, I do
freedom
not. It's all me.
to speak.
But back to what I was saying, what it is if we start acknowledging ourselves on a higher level, we stop utilizing their characteristics, their culture to reign supreme over us, then we can get a light of day. I don't get mad when ants are outside in their natural, but if they come in my house crawling in my food on me, I start killing them. That's the only way I will react to the ants. Otherwise, I don't have nothing against the ants or any other. And this is how we have to treat Caucasians. We have to
Mhm.
disregard them and not get caught up on what they say, how they say. For them to insult me or tell me how I look or anything is laughable. if to say the least, because they're not relevant in my life like that, and I'm not going to put them in a relevant state in my life. That's how I hurt myself and hurt my family. If we start focusing on our culture, our history, our language, who we are, we won't have time to get upset about what they doing because it's not relevant. And I'm not trying to say that they don't have power. I'm trying to say we give them power and we need to take it back. We need to
Agreed.
focus on loving ourselves. If women of color want to get their men back, be natural. Don't put on no makeup. Wear your clothing from the motherland. They're so beautiful. Be humble. Just admit that we are not perfect and we're trying to improve each other. I guarantee the response will change. That's my
Definitely.
take on it. And please sub to my
Fantastic.
channel and let everybody know.
You heard it here first. Hit the link. Check out Wise Nubian. I'll see if I can come on later on, which would be tonight, or sometime maybe in the week. I have to check my schedule. But definitely
Please
we need to
call
start.
me. I'd be happy to be a part of it.
Definitely. What I'll normally do, if I have a live coming up in mind, I will announce it and set a time so people do get a notification. This was an impromptu stream because I came across this video. So I really appreciate
Okay.
everybody who came through, those who will catch this on the restream. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, like and subscribe and share. A lot of the people that you see in the comment section, they do make content. Bronzebird, Wise Nubian, George, shout out to you, always supporting the channel. Demetrius, he's going to start live streaming soon. Shout out to Naima Buckner, Khalil. Who else did I see in the building earlier on? I really appreciate everybody who dropped a comment, a like, a dislike, Bell, Butterfly. Shout out to you. I really appreciate you. Cortez Smith, George Golden. Who else did we have in here? Every other race, XYZ. And there's at least one other person. So appreciate everybody who came through. Thank you so much for your support. Hit the like button on the way out, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace and blessings, Lady K. Hey.